Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, welcome to a very special comic episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's shattering their glasses with me tonight?
A version of Red Fox.
And I am an evil version of Joe Butler.
So after we've been doing Power Rangers a whole bunch, we finally bring you the first big event that I've been waiting for a long-ass damn time. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Shattered Grid event. And I am so excited to finally talk about this. I think this came out in, 2018?
I want to say 18.
It's hard for me sometimes to find that information, especially when someone forgets to open up the Wikipedia before they start recording. So, but I'm pretty sure it's 2018. You think this would be easier to figure out? That's the one thing hard about comics. Sometimes it's hard to figure out when stuff comes out and everything. Yeah, 2018. It ran from February.
Re-release it too.
Yeah, and I didn't want to re-release the information. But I have been so excited for this book. It took us over 10 episodes to get here. So, and Rich, you had talked about it a long time ago, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't give a shit. But so I give a shit now.
Good to know.
I don't care about Power Rangers.
I am so much more invested than I thought I would be. I'm so goddamn invested.
Oh, I warned you guys. I gave you the fairest warning of all. You guys are gonna it's gonna blow your mind, and here we are. And I mean, we're only at Shattered Grid. This is like the first peak of the series. I mean, there's so much more to go. So much cool shit we got to see. This is just the beginning of it.
There's like 4 events or so.
I can't wait till you see the Omega Rangers. But in time.
And meanwhile,
go ahead.
Meanwhile, we talk about this. The Prime comics apparently are doing really, really, really well.
I'm happy for that. I'm so happy. I haven't read the second issue yet, but it's because I was more so focusing on this. But I'd say probably today or tomorrow that's going to get read, and we'll see how that goes. First issue so far so good.
I went from a guy who didn't really care about this to being like, oh my god, this shit is great. So
I'm the kind of guy who I want to go back in time and punch myself for not reading this, because holy shit.
But if you read it before, then you couldn't have the moments with us.
That's fair.
I mean, there's something special about reading a comic for the first time or watching a movie for the first time or game and then talking about it immediately, after you record. Like, there's something special about that. And that's why I don't read these until we do it together. Because I love this. I love what we have here.
Yeah, I usually wait. Like I want to say I read all these Friday, the previous 2 days before us recording.
It's normal for you. So, yeah, I mean, that's normal where you like to wait.
Also, I'm a really fast comic book reader. Give an example. I just read that 10th chapter real quick while we were booting everything.
That is fast.
You gotta be shitting me, dude. Did you read any words?
I skimmed.
No word bubbles for you.
You did like pictures.
I got the gist of it.
Yeah, you can always read it again because you got time still. But so we're here to talk. So we're going to start with issue. So this event starts with issue 25. That's where we're going to start to. Mighty Morphin 25. So this is written by Kyle Higgins, illustrated by Danielle Di Nicuolo. But what I do have to say is I'm a fan of the original Power Rangers, and I quit. I know a little through osmosis and by knowing you guys, but I am not what I like. You could show me all the different Power Rangers. I don't know who the fuck they are until they say it.
Oh, so, I totally forgot something.
What?
So a lot of this is American Power Rangers. American Power Rangers is weird because as we have Power Rangers, we very much rip off the Japanese counterparts. American Power Rangers is a little bit weird because everything takes place roughly in the same universe. I want to say, and Rich can super fact check me on this because I'm not 100% sure. I know they said Time Force has something to do with something happened in Time Force that's creating other branches of the Power Ranger series. So not all of them take place in the same universe, except for maybe 2 or 3. But in the Japanese version, every single Power Rangers takes place in what is essentially a different Earth. It's kind of basically like DC, where there's the universe where the Zoo Rangers are from. There's a universe where the Ninja Storm Power Rangers are from. They're all different universes, and they even have movies where something happens where the worlds collide and they have to help each other at some point.
So I'll comment on that. So it's kind of after Lost Galaxy is when you started to see the difference between the different realities or worlds, because everything was pretty linear, because even Zordon was part of In Space. That was probably the last appearance, as far as I remember, of Zordon in the series, was in space. They kind of wrapped it up with him there. I think Lost Galaxy still tied into it, but after that, they tended to go in a different direction with that. They had Lightspeed Rescue, and then I think Time Force. Time Force is probably at the end of the time spectrum for obvious reasons. They can time travel. It's in the future. But I want to say that majority, or not even majority of them, majority of them after Lost Galaxy are not the same universe until you get to Dino Thunder. Then once you get to Dino Thunder, it's like they almost treat it as the continuation after the original Mighty Morphin, which is crazy.
I remember that.
They even, you watched Dino Thunder, right?
Yeah, I watched Dino Thunder.
All right, so they recap everything up until right before like Zeo.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy that they do that. But I think later on in the series, when they start getting after Disney and stuff like that, they start tying in a lot of things where you see Billy back and they tie it all together. I think ultimately the TV show might somewhat treat it like we see in the comics, to where there's these alternate realities that eventually converge in some form or manner.
Do you want to know the weird, uncanon version as to why it happens too?
What's up?
It's also because Disney owns partial of the series too, so they did and then did not want to mix it. One of them, I'll point out, was very much made by Disney, and there's even an in-universe weird thing that they do with it. And it's part of one of the free comic book days. I don't know which ones they are specifically, because I lost Super Track, but a lot of the reasons why a lot of it isn't linear and is linear is because Disney's like, we don't know what the fuck we're doing, and we wanted to make it new and all this other bullshit.
100%. Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard though, Overdrive was part of Disney, and I heard it was actually fucking good.
Which one's Overdrive?
Overdrive or RPM, one of those car ones. Anything but Turbo. It wasn't Turbo. I know that.
It wasn't Turbo. Yeah, Turbo was still when they were still made by Saban.
Yeah, that was
Turbo is so stupid.
Look,
that Turbo movie was rough to watch again with that fucking wizard. Oh, I'll never let that go.
And it is now part of this podcast forever. So,
anybody remember the wizard's name? Bonus points. Wizard name?
No.
I don't fucking remember either.
I don't want to remember, to be fair, but no, I do not.
Overdrive was Disney, yeah. But the thing is, a lot of it has to do, it's all of its toy sales, especially Japan, especially America, it's all toy sales. Overdrive was, hey, you know what's being really popular and everyone owns one? A flip phone.
Yeah.
That what Overdrive had to do with his phones?
Yeah, Overdrive is phone. At
the time.
Yeah. And then you'll see one later on which I made a comment about, the Samurai one. Samurai one's also phones.
Okay, that will come up in what we're talking about shortly.
Yeah.
So this issue 25 starts off in a way that this is Time Force, correct, that we see here?
Yeah, Time Force is good.
Okay, I don't know anything about Time Force other than that Pink Ranger looks just like Kimberly the way they drew her, and I'm like, why did you draw her just look like Kimberly?
Time Force has 5 Rangers, and then the 6th Ranger is a Red Ranger, and he is the guy who goes on to be Virgil for Devil May Cry, and it's like
Time Force has 2 Red Rangers. They have the regular Red Ranger, and then what the fuck is his name?
Yeah, there's the evil Ranger.
It's like black and red.
It's a Super Red Ranger or some shit like that. He's got teeth.
Is it Quantum Ranger or some shit like that?
Might be Quantum Ranger. Either way, that guy, the 6th Ranger, who is another Red Ranger, is the guy that plays Virgil for Devil May Cry.
It's the only series. Well, not the only series, because even Samurai has 2 Red Rangers technically. But yeah, as far as it's some type of evil one, yeah.
Well, he evil. I say like how in it's like the Greg. It's always he's an evil Ranger, and then something happens, and then he becomes part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
They do like that theme, don't they?
It's a good theme.
Okay, so this starts off.
When it's done right, it works.
It always works.
Time Force has their Megazord, and they find a time rift or some kind of rift in space, and they shove the mech into it to try to stop it, and everyone dies, and the Pink Ranger jettisons, and then a large, shadowy Drakon tries to grab her, and she teleports through space and time.
Well, then the Red Ranger sacrifices himself.
Where are the other Rangers?
They all die, dude.
They get sucked into that rift.
Oh, okay, that's why they're
falling
missing.
out of the yeah.
Oh, I see.
So
You
Jen
is
the hero here, and I'm telling you, and we should probably think about this as we go forward. The Hyperforce, whatever it's called, that YouTube series is canon. I want to say we should probably check that out at some point, and Jen is a part of that as well.
Power Rangers is the weirdest fucking thing.
But it's fun.
Oh, Joe.
It is.
Oh, Joe. I knew I wouldn't have to do anything else weird. I know it's only Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, probably. Not like we got to go the entire Power Ranger discovery for a comic.
For those that don't know his reference, we're about to getting ready to do, depending on when you hear, depending on our release schedule. Don't know when that will happen, but we're covering a YouTube video about a mobile game for Kingdom Hearts because Joe asked us to.
It's a 3-hour mobile video.
So, and then after you see that, you also see a little bit of kind of what happened with Tommy at the end of the Power Rangers book, the last one, where where he escaped, and it shows Jason and Tommy and Grace, right, the leader of that group,
Grace, yes.
Talking about looking at the video footage of how Drakon cut open a portal and disappeared
After killing Saba.
Yeah, he rips off his head off.
Rip Sava's fucking head off.
And then you have a small scene of Lord Drakkon went somewhere in time and space to go find Ninjor, because Ninjor could help rebuild his Morpher, and Ninjor is something to do with the grid.
If I'm right, he might go to the current time to see Ninjor, because the Ninjor in the coinless world is already dead.
Okay.
So he goes to the current time, manipulates him, and gets him to do what he wants.
God, his voice.
Oh, you like that? Did you like that?
No.
Impressive. No one has ever completed the trial so quickly.
I could have done without knowing what he sounded like and just put my own voice in there, and he wouldn't have sounded like that.
That is
Man, you say we know each other in the future.
I hate how spot on that is, Rich. God fucking damn it.
I've probably been practicing since like fucking 5th grade, so
It's like it's well performed. It's so bad, but like Ninjor is so stupid yet so important. And I had never heard of Ninjor before.
What's crazy is Ninjor, other than the series, really doesn't have a presence. Like other than season 3 of Power Rangers, when he introduced the animal powers to them once they lost their Thunder Zords. That was it. Other than that, Ninjor doesn't have too much of a role other than what I want to say season 3 of Power Rangers.
But they got their animal powers in the movie.
Oh, that's not canon, my friend.
Oh, the movie's not canon?
They get their powers differently in the show.
That's stupid.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that, by the way, until just now.
Are we talking about how the Turbo movie's not the same as the goddamn TV show?
Right.
No, we're talking about the first movie.
Oh no, we're talking about the first movie in contrast to the season 3 of Power Rangers, where they get the Ninja Zord.
Okay.
And their new powers. The way they get their powers is different from the show to the movie.
Yeah.
Why make the movie?
For money.
Yes.
Money, friend. Oh, we're in trouble.
Oh, that's that movie. But then you have the group at the Power Rangers headquarters, and there's some really good moments that I'm sure tugged at Joe's heartstrings a little bit, especially as he read this issue, where Kimberly and Tommy are like, we should go out again. I like this, because she even makes a reference somewhere to Matt. Yeah, she makes a reference to Matt, too. And I'm like,
so
that reference.
So the following events that happen are all Kim's fault. She suggested it, it's all her fault.
And then you see Ninjor fixes the amulet for Tommy or Lord Drakkon because he falls for it, but then I like when he first transformed, he's like, that's a cool outfit you got there.
So, am I the only one that thought it was weird? They all say their names when they transform, and Tommy specifically, or Lord Drakkon says Black Dragon, which is a interesting choice.
All right, well, how do you contrast that to the original Tommy, though? With the Green Ranger powers.
Well, he summons a dragon because he is a Greasy Green Ranger, but he's also the Dragon Zord. But also, he has the White Ranger powers, so why is it Black Dragon?
Because that's
White Dragon would have made him sound like a Ku Klux Klan member?
Yeah, maybe. But his Black Dragon is technically his Zord at this point.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily. I didn't even like the original where they're going through like, Tyrannosaurus, Sabretooth, and this guy says Dragon Zord. I guess it makes sense or whatever, but I don't know. That's a Zord, so they call it their Zord. It's what makes sense for this character.
Okay.
I didn't know what he used to say, but I was wondering too a bit, so that makes more sense.
That's the only reason why, because that was his Zord at the time that he became Drakon.
Okay. That suit is still so fucking cool. God, I like that suit.
Yeah, I love it. I saw some of the concepts, and all of them were shit, and then I saw this one, I'm like, yeah, they made the right choice.
I still want this Funko Pop at some point. So
How about the Lightning Collection? You like that?
I don't want that. I don't care about
Why-
figures. I want Funko Pops. I want the uglier version.
I want Funko Pops. I want the chibi version.
Yes. I want to have a side, but that ship sailed. So
There's
You're kind of missed that one.
yeah.
no, there is no. I can send it to you if you for both of you if you really want to. There's a store called Big Bad Toy Store.
I know what that is, pal.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
I want it signed in person.
Yeah, but you can
That
get
ship
like
has sailed.
you can get the statues that I have there and other statues and other stuff. I think the same website sells that like $300 fucking Red Ranger sword too. I don't remember exactly though.
It does, I'm pretty sure. I just want one of my fun is to get Funko Pops and then get them signed when you meet people from there because it looks cool to have on a shelf when they're all signed. So, but yeah, that's one of the 2 times I kicked myself at the same event where I didn't have either him nor Kevin Conroy sign anything. So,
Yeah.
but hindsight is 2020.
It is what it is, man. You gotta let it go.
Never, never when it comes up. But so. Oh, I think it's funny how they don't upgrade the security and Drakon's just able to walk in and steal the green crystal from them. You think they would have realized, like, he might, because Grace tells him he stole his Morpher back, and they're like, yeah, that's fine. Like, maybe you should change the security, but he can't just get back in. But
Yeah, that's a pretty shit oversight, especially when you got all these intelligent people around like Billy and Grace and everybody else.
So, and then after he takes the green crystal, and then you have Kimberly and Tommy go out on a date. Oh, and then like they don't.
Kim's fault.
He tries to kiss her, and she says no because she's not ready, and then she runs after him after he goes down in a dark alley, and then he gets stabbed by Lord Drakkon.
All right, so how did you guys feel about that? Because I'll tell you how I felt. Like, this is my second time seeing it, and even then, it was still fucking harsh. Like when I first saw it, I was like, holy fuck. How are they going to dig themselves out of this one?
I don't know, Rich. How do I feel about my childhood hero being stabbed by an evil version of himself? I don't know. That's a really weird question. How do I fucking feel about it?
I'm glad you said it that way because that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Go ahead, continue.
I'm so fucking upset. I know it's a thing where it's like, look, I know it's not comics. I know it's not dead, but goddamn, that is such a fucking way to just grab me by the balls and pull down as hard as he can. Like, holy shit,
man.
I mean,
and it gets worse.
This would have had a stronger effect on me had I not known he's in later comics that are already out. I'm like,
oh yeah, it
I've
helps
seen the
to
cover
know that somehow
he's back.
He gets White Ranger powers eventually. I mean, it is what it is, but still, like when I read it, I didn't know that shit. Like I was like, oh shit, yeah. So I'm like, oh fuck, like how does this work?
It's an impressive damn moment to see.
That's why they gave it one entire whole fucking page because they knew how devastating that was going to be.
Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, he's still going to survive this because he's in later comics, but he doesn't.
Dude, it's actually really sad. Like when I read it for the second time, it kind of tugged at me emotionally. I was like, wow, this is really rough. Like his girlfriend's there, like who made a mistake, a very small mistake relatively. They would have went past it, but even then, it's a mistake as a teenager. That's big for her to go back and try to chase him down, and then she sees him get stabbed in the fucking back. I mean, that's rough, man. And then he dies on top of that. It pulls at the heartstrings for sure.
It's not what I expected this comic to do.
I didn't see it coming either.
And then you got Jen out of fucking nowhere because Kimberly probably would have died right here. I know she would have died unless she ported somewhere. She would have died, and that would have been it. So if it wasn't for Jen's intervention, we would have been down a Ranger.
I mean, we are down a Ranger, but
you meant two, but yes,
because
Kimberly definitely would have died in here because it's Jen and Kimberly together that are able to push him back to why he runs away. He wouldn't have ran away from her. He would have killed her.
Yeah,
because he is more powerful
all the way here.
He's more powerful than that.
Doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. The only problems he would have had with, like, if it was Ranger Slayer, maybe he would have had some issues. But no, not no regular Pink Ranger. No,
I do think it's cool that the Pink Ranger, Time Force Pink Ranger, fucking Terminator in there and just fucking
hell yes. She didn't enter the same way. She didn't have to go find clothes at a bar somewhere. But you know that works.
Something they time travel professionally.
It's 100% Terminator, but I mean Terminator when they teleport him back in time is kind of not a mistake, but they don't really know what they're doing because they're robots. But
they're also people.
I should really
robots. What do you mean? What do you mean?
I don't know Terminator that well.
Okay, so Terminator, there's the robots time travel and the people time travel. They both time travel.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
Sure, yes. None of them can have clothes. That's the rule.
It's been a while. I haven't absorbed enough Terminator content in a long time.
Terminator is really amazing. The only issue I have with the series is that everything's the same. We travel back in time and we try to change this outcome. There's not much difference than that. I mean, maybe in the comics it goes a little different as you go on, but even in the comics when you first start out, it's interesting. It's still same concept, very interesting, but it's the same song that you might have heard before with a little variation.
But it is sad. And then to really stab you in the gut, the next issue, 26, the cover is Tommy laying on the ground with Kimberly crying and the pink Time Force Ranger in the background. It's the fuck with you even more.
I'm looking right now at the end of that first issue, and it's bad, man. She's calling for help on her communicator. Jen's over there in the corner, fucked up, and Kim is like slowly losing hope, and he's not breathing, and it ends with them in the alley where no one can see, with her trying to have the 1% hope that she has left. It's sad.
It is. It's a great way to start this event, though. Way to kick you in the face.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what this event does so much of just, it really makes you feel.
It also super gets you hooked.
Yeah. Oh, I read the first half of this in a day. So I really enjoyed these. And then issue 26 starts off with Drakon has finally returned back to the world of the coinless, and he's been gone ever since he got captured at the end. So they never say how long, but my guess it's been a few months that they've been gone.
They might cover it. I don't know. We can see as we go. But did you notice like his base has like, if I'm right, the top of the Rita's like palace orb thing?
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out.
Never reference why it's there, what it does, but yes. I think this technique was Rita's.
I think they might reference the time frame, but it hasn't been too long.
So you had made a comment when we saw Finster last time about that outfit, and when he goes in the room and he hugs Finster, I was like, I wasn't expecting that.
I also was expecting that.
Finster 5. So they combined Finster and Alpha into one, and that's due to Finster's ingenuity.
Yeah, but they're also loving friends. I thought this dude fucking hates everyone.
They're a couple.
They're 100% couple.
That's great.
They don't. I was waiting to see them kiss or something.
No.
They're 100% a couple.
That's great. Oh,
you didn't catch. I mean, that's what it looks like.
I don't. He's not sucking on his neck on this. He's not giving him a hickey on this.
But he just says, "I missed you. I missed you too." They hug each other, and I mean, yes, he thought he was dead, but still, they're a couple. I don't.
They're overly close. I'll say that. I mean, realistically, like, all right, so Tommy, right? Tommy was part of Rita's. He's another minion, so to say, right? So every other minion of Rita is dead. Babu, Squat, Goldar, Rita herself. They're all dead. Rita's minions are dead. We got Finster here, who's merged with Alpha 5 to become Finster 5. This is his only connection to where he comes from and what made him who he is and what he is today. So there's that. I mean, if they're a couple, that's fucking hilarious. I don't see it that way, but I'm not against it.
I don't see it as a couple, but I very much see it as that super came out of nowhere, because that is a dude who you've seen kick puppies and stab a teenager, and he is not love it. I wouldn't say love, but he is very familially embracing a dude that we know is also a piece of shit. So it's super weird.
So the only thing that like I just kind of covered is that this is his deepest connection to what made him who he is and what he is today. There's nobody else that he has that connects deeper to his past other than Finster 5 at this point.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Still don't disagree with what I said, but that's fair. No, I still think they're a couple. I don't care what you say. And speaking of more heartbreaking, you have Tommy's funeral, and this hits too when it flashes back and shows you how they tried to like bring him back. I was like, I can't.
Hold on, but before we move on
Ninja.
Yeah, he has Ninja and a goddamn cum jar. I'm sorry, I couldn't skip that.
Cum jar? Why, buddy?
It's a little jar with a little hip inside of it. I mean, it's the way it is.
Where does cum jar come from?
You know what? Don't. All right, Joe. Don't explain to him what that means.
Okay, but I do know a guy who did come into a jar and keep the jars. So
yeah. All right, well, it's with a figure in it. Usually, I didn't know this was a thing until I met somebody that was like 10, 11 years younger than me, and he told me what that meant. I'm like, oh, so your generation comes on action figures.
Yeah, It started as a My Little Pony thing where you put My Little Ponies in a jar and you come into the jar with them in the jar.
They do it with all kinds of action figures. I can't explain it to you. This is a thing. This is why I tried to tell Joe. This is why I tried to tell you. Don't tell him what this means.
What is wrong with people?
Yeah, buddy, I thought the same. I was driving in a work truck when this guy next to me in my passenger seat told me about it. I'm like, I was looking at him, dude. I'm like, do you want to kill us both right now? Like, what is this? What the fuck are you saying to me?
Well, welcome to Games that Mom Found Comic Edition, where Joe explains weird fetishes people have on the internet.
I get weird shit. I have my own thing, but coming on top of an action figure just is a strange thing.
Honestly, man, I can only attribute it. It's not our generation. We can't understand it, and that's fine with me. I'll move on.
I don't know, but I do actually know a guy who who used to keep it in jars, and I don't know why. So
I'm curious what guy this is.
Nobody you know, and that's going to leave it at that.
Okay. All right, we'll keep it at
nobody
that,
you know, and nobody that I would ever speak to again. So
don't worry about it.
So, I'll tell you off the air, not on the air.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I do like seeing them more and Tommy, and they all take it differently. Than you have like a little like day 3, day 4 of just showing, and the way when the mother is told by the cops, and like, man, it is emotional.
It's rough, man. It's really rough. That didn't help the death to begin with, and then you got to deal with this. You see Billy wiping his tears at the funeral. You take it in. You feel it.
Yeah,
so
it hits.
I have one question and one comment. One, what the fuck did they tell his mom? Like, was it like a robbery? Like he got robbed, and then like
I don't know if they have covered it either, because they're talking to Zordon. Like, what the fuck do we tell his mom?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, what the fuck do we tell his mom?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what they said. And they're crying. Like, look at Jason over here crying. Like Austin St. John might not, but the Jason in the comic is crying.
Well, Austin St. John might have said how even Hitler had good catchphrases. So
oh well.
I don't want to think about that.
Well, I will say when Jason David Frank died, at least Austin St. John made a video and said once a Ranger, always a Ranger. So there was some positivity there.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, he was nice when we met him in person.
Yeah, that short fuck. I can't believe I'm taller than the original Red Ranger, and I'm only like 5'9.5".
Damn, dude, I'm like 5'8". Holy shit, how tall is he?
Probably 5'7", 5'8". I was taller than him. I could show you the pics of me and him. I'm taller than him.
I have it too, but he's leaning over in mine because I didn't go behind because it was COVID time. So I'm like, he's like, yeah, masks don't work anyway, and I'm like, they do.
That is a sign.
I put my arm around him. I didn't give a shit. I didn't even ask.
It's fine. I just, I haven't. Yeah, that was so fun time. I have that red Funko Pop he signed for me near me.
So,
dude, I'm looking at it right now. It's on my bookcase.
It's next to my Billy I have signed too.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta get the Black Ranger signed.
Hey, if you got Power Rangers coming to Minnesota again, let me know. I might make a trip up there and we can hang out and get some more autographs.
Okay. I just have to make sure I take Tiff to the convention because she's still mad at me for not taking her that time and leaving her home.
Oh, that's rough. That's on you. I don't feel that.
Well, I didn't want Sheila. I knew Sheila wouldn't want to come. I'm like, he can say.
I don't know. You're right, but at the same time, if I talked her into it, she would go too.
And then she would have been like, give me mean eyeing the woman that was all nice to you, huh? I'm sorry. When you met the Yellow Ranger and she was all friendly to you and stuff. And when we told the story, and you're like, really?
Oh, whoops! Subject change.
you guys can convince your partner. You guys can convince your partners to go to stuff with you. What's that like?
It's wonderful.
I wish you the best in your future endeavors.
So, anyways, that's also a Zoo Rangers reference of Jason getting the chest plate when the Green Ranger dies. So that
is cool.
Well, that's not only Zayu Ranger. That happened in the American version too. You remember that, Joe?
No, I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of the original Power Rangers.
It did happen. In the American version of Power Rangers, Jason and Zach got the Dragon Shield.
Right.
So you got to think and their mentality, it's like, Tommy's not using this shit, so somebody else can use this Dragon Shield. It's a separate power than from when you morph initially, so it just enhances the user's power to begin with.
Oh no! In Zoo Rangers, the Green Ranger is revealed to be the Red Ranger's brother, and they do they do a big sequence, and I think he gets stabbed actually, and they put the dragon armor on the Red Ranger, and they do the big final attack, and he goes, "We did it! "You're my brother, and we did it." And he's like, "Yeah, good job." And then he dies, and it's like, and it ends. It literally ends with a no, and that's like the last episode.
Yeah. No. So in the American Power Rangers, that's when Tommy. I don't initially remember what it caused Tommy to like maybe temporarily lose his powers. But that's when Jason took it over for a bit, and then Tommy eventually got it back.
It was a candle.
Was it the candle
I think it was a candle. Yeah, I think it was a candle situation.
Because I think the Zach scenario where he got it for one episode happened before the candle too, and that was after the Jason episode.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not too positive because the candle was definitely later on. Because the candle was like the end of his powers to begin with, and then we eventually transitioned into the White Ranger powers. So I just think it was like them taking the Zyu Ranger footage and making it into some type of connection to where Jason gets to use it for a little while and then he gives it up.
Man, the amount of like clean footage they did is quite impressive.
Hey, man, I can't imagine the amount of hours they went through of footage to just figure out what they can use and what they can't.
Or what they can reuse over and over and over again. So then we're taking the new Rangers. I don't know who these guys are. The ninja ones?
The samurai.
Okay. So they have like a little base.
That female samurai ranger is
yes.
Get used to it now, because if we ever cover the Power Rangers Prime, she's a very big contributor to that. She's a main character in that series, from what I can tell so far.
I do not remember fucking that samurai one because I do not remember it ending with the Red Ranger being a woman.
No, well, that's because the Red Ranger in the Samurai series initially was male. The female took over.
No, that's what I mean. Okay. I do not remember that in the show at all. But
I didn't keep watching it long enough.
I don't think I did. I remember what their gimmick was. Like these are the ones that I mentioned that they have cell phones and they draw kanji. Yeah, they draw kanji to make their suits, and that's why like hers is fire on the helmet and all that other stuff.
Are they like at least touch phones?
I think they're touch phones.
I don't think flip phones. No,
they might be flip phones. Oh, and then there's a Gold Ranger.
Yeah, there is a Gold Ranger. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know who these were, and then Lord Drakkon shows up and kicks their asses pretty much because he has that dragon cannon of your powers if you're hit.
Yeah, the Black Dragon Cannon, at which we'll get into that later. But
otherwise, they would have won. Wasn't for that power. The cannon, is that due to something to do with Ninja also?
No,
it's what he was doing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's what he was doing to our team first originally.
He already had the black. Yeah. Okay.
He had. That's what helped him. Early on, like that has nothing to do with Ninja.
Yeah. Okay, I couldn't remember what's what anymore.
And they do show the gold Samurai Ranger if you one of these shots. Funny.
Yeah. So we skipped over a little bit part, which is important because I have to explain it later. So basically, if I can explain it now, if anything, the Pink Time Ranger explains that Drakon's fucking around and that he's fucking around with the timeline. But even funnier fact, even though he is fucking around with the timeline, all the other Power Rangers still exist. That's why technically later on during one of the annual, we still see that Zeo still exists and Tommy is still the leader of the Zeo Rangers, even though he stabbed him in the fucking back in the past.
Yeah, they also make a comment about that of why that exists is because the times are all separated, so it doesn't. What you do in one time doesn't affect the other times yet.
I mean, even Zeo, for example, technically happens, but it's a different timeline at this point, and that's why we get to see it then. Even though in the original show it was connected. In the comics, it still happens. It's just a different dimension because we're not there yet. Yeah. Because we gotta always reconnect. We gotta always tether back to the current timeline, which is the original 5 Rangers with the Green Ranger. That is where we need to anchor ourselves. Where everything else is an additional dimension or timeline.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you playing Vampire Survivors?
I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. What you're talking about. You gotta get money in Vampire Survivors.
You just look over, see me playing Helldivers, like, what the fuck?
Right, I just got off Helldivers, by the way. Fucking Joe. Are we not gonna play that? Like, what are we doing? Get on with me, buddy.
You can play with him. I don't play online games, you know that, so don't ask me.
I know it hurts my soul, but yeah.
Not yet.
It's too hard for me to play online games. I got
co-op though. Like we're not playing multiplayer, like competitive.
Oh, that'll never happen. But
Yeah, it's still PvE.
I don't do I don't do competitive unless it's Dead by Daylight. I don't do competitive at all.
why
I
not?
do
You got great friends.
purely. I play purely like co-op if I'm playing with others, unless it's Dead by Daylight. That's it.
All right. And then the other Rangers show up to because they figure out Drakon is in that world and they come there to stop him, I think it is. Or whatever the hell they're up to. But they go there and then they find one of the Samurai Rangers still has their power and they take the red one back with them.
Because the others are captured.
Yeah.
And
They're
they
not
use
dead, to
their,
be honest.
they use their samurizers to, as we'll see eventually.
Because at this point we don't know what he's up to.
Those Black Dragon cannons are the worst thing possible. They don't know what to do about it. They have no answer for it. and they just fucking grab the samurai red and they get out of there.
Yeah. I like that they're like, we gotta go.
That's the smartest choice.
Okay, I see the cell phones that you're talking about. They are flip phones because in the next scene you show Lord Drakkon.
Yep.
That I was wondering what
Those are the
things look
samurais.
like.
That reflects the time that it was made, obviously. Just like Power Rangers in space, they like if you notice when they morph, they have like in their head, their helmet, they have like a computer that shows up, a cell phone, a computer, or some other shit. It reflects the time that it was made. And I think like Joe could probably answer this more than I could. The in space Rangers that we know, the concept for them was a lot different than what we know it here in America.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of stuff that they have in like in the Japanese versions, like honestly, it's honestly terrifying how much that we don't rip off of them and we try to put in our own. And it's like then you end up having a bunch of answers that don't make sense. Give an example with this, even though they do have cell phones in this, that's what like Japan's still known for having flip phones. They still have flip phones now, and it's even weirder because their flip phones are better than our smartphones.
In Japan, I didn't realize when I was in Japan, I didn't realize what they had in their hand because everybody on the train, because obviously if you want to go anywhere in Japan, you can take a train. Like the entire country, you can take a train. Maybe it'll take longer to the plane. It is what it is, but everybody is used to that style of getting somewhere. So I didn't notice necessarily if they had a smartphone or flip phone. I would say majority had a smartphone, but flip phones I would not count out that some of them did have some.
Okay. I need to visit Japan someday. So, but
hey, I plan on going in another maybe another year and a half. We'll see how things go. Hey, if things work out, maybe you can go with me.
That would make my wife happy. That's for sure. I gotta get a passport still.
Buddy, figure it out. I
couldn't go to Japan without her. I would come back to no wife if I went to Japan without her. I can tell you that right now. She wanted to go to Japan her whole life, and all of a sudden I went without her. Oh yeah, don't come back home. No wife waiting for her. That would be the ultimate betrayal right there.
No shit. Well, yeah, we could definitely talk about it. I plan on going in 2026 again, so we can talk.
And this issue ends with shows Drakon getting all more powerful. They show Ninjor with his little enslavement crown because he thinks he's in Final Fantasy VI in the corner.
Here we go.
That's all I could think of when I saw it.
Yeah, good point.
That is such a sweet look too. Holy shit!
The version 2 of Drakon.
Yeah, version 2, the samurai Drakon.
How do you even catch it? You're right. He's different now.
You know what hurts me? What hurts me about this is that I have. Yes, that's exactly what I'm getting at. I have version 1 of Drakon. I showed you pictures of it. I have not shown you version 3 of Drakon, which I also have, which you'd be pretty impressed by.
I think I know which one you're talking about, and I am impressed by it.
Maybe I'll show it to you guys.
Is it the cape? The one with the cape?
It's all primarily black with the cape. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I've seen that. Fucking great.
What they'd never released was a version 2 samurai version of Drakon, probably because it was so similar to the first. Because really, when you look at it, like, what's the difference?
He's got a high collar, badass.
He's got a high collar. He's got a little extra stripes. He's got his shoulder pads have a little more gold, but that's it. There's not much of a difference. But either way,
people would buy it.
Being a collector, I would have bought it. Like I'm a collector. I'm a Power Ranger collector. I would have bought a Drakon version 2.
Oh yeah, I mean Hasbro's just Hasbro sometimes, I guess.
Fuck you, Hasbro. Keep saying that this whole fucking thing.
Can't wait for that. The rant.
This is the start of it. We'll get there.
No, it's coming. And then in the end of this issue, you see them staring at a big tower, which will play a part later in Shattered, which to me is like, oh, they're looking at their Death Star, essentially, what I thought of.
I guess, yeah, that's what I assumed too.
And what
I mean,
part?
it's the tower in the very last panel. They're looking at a tower and it comes in the end of Shattered Grid.
Yeah, I
It's
suppose.
what he's building up to.
Yeah,
what's
I can
happening.
see that.
Right, and then that brings us to the annual now. We go to next. All right, and we'll talk about the annual next. So, me and Rich are known for insulting annuals.
It's a really good annual.
It is.
Spoiler.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like the cover. This is a good annual, even though this is the one where I felt the most confused I've ever have. Because I don't know my Power Rangers as well as you do.
We got Jet on the front. You got the Gold Ranger from Zeo, which there's a focus on Zeo here. I mean, there's not too much to think about.
Look, there's a dog man at one point. Mike, don't worry about it. It's just
Okay,
a dog
like-
man.
So the first,
That's different. We'll get to that, but okay.
I know we'll talk about him soon. And it's not Emperor Gestel. So hey. But the first issue or the first short story in here is about Zeo, and the drawing looks like it came out of the 90s.
It super does.
And I know that's on purpose because what they were going for.
I love it.
I did not, but we can go with it.
You don't understand. So they're fighting the Cogs too, which are the putties of Zeo. Since you skip Zeo, you don't really fully understand it. Not
don't
to
understand
mention who's in the suits, because you got Tommy in the red, you got Adam in the green, you got what the fuck is it? Rocky in the blue, who took over for Jason in the original series,
Yeah.
Kat in the pink, who took over for Kimberly, and then you got what is that? Tanya in the yellow, who took over for Aisha from the.
Oh, Aisha left already at this point?
At this point, yes.
God damn.
And Billy's still around?
Billy is not in these suits, but he's still around, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
Yeah,
confused me.
Yeah, Mike. Rocky's the dumbass that broke his leg during the fucking tournament, and that's why he can't use the Blue Ranger suit in the beginning of Turbo.
And that's why they got to give it to the stupid kid,
Yeah.
Adam or
Yeah.
something, right?
Justin.
Justin, okay. But, all right, this one is like, they're all celebrating, and Tommy and Jason are talking, and because Jason, it was all to commemorate Jason, and they brought his Morpher, but he can't use it, but they're like, here, you can hold it, you can keep it as like a special,
So Jason, at this point, I'll give a little bit of recap here. Jason did participate as the Gold Ranger at this point. He was only the Red Ranger and the Gold Ranger in his entire career. He participated as the Gold Ranger during this time. He's done with it at this point, and if you watch the original series, you'll know why because it was like draining his life force.
I thought because it was draining his pocketbook.
It might have been it too. But as far as the Red Ranger powers, they gave it to him as a gift. And I don't know who they contribute that to, maybe Rocky, because he feels a certain connection to Jason at this point, which was a good touch to it.
Okay. So yeah, you have like a nice little moment of Tommy and them bonding, and then Jason leaves, and then Tommy grabs a morpher and teleports off to a special room where you find the real Tommy tied up to a chair.
I do like that before they show that they have Tommy and Jason on the top of the command center kind of connecting, because we all know the turmoil and controversy between the real life actors when it came to that. But when it comes to the comic, they let them bond a bit and kind of trade off the leadership role to the next, and that they both bit into that and whatnot. And it was a good touch. It was pretty touching, and I enjoyed it.
I have a question for Joe. Joe, would you say they're missing sea salt ice cream?
Shut the fuck up, damn it. Yes.
Oh, but man, when you see Tommy in the chair and then Lord Drakkon just kills another Tommy,
yep,
like they're just hitting you.
Yep. Hey, Did you like the first one? No? All right, well, here's another one.
Here's another one that showed this guy really hates himself.
Can you imagine if
somebody that doesn't have any mirrors in his Drakon fucking command center?
He's like, no mirrors allowed, bitch. It is funny though. I also was thinking, would Teenage Joe been extra upset had this came out and he read this when he was a teenager?
Yes, probably. More than likely, yes.
And then it goes to the next short story, which is about SPD, which I know nothing about these guys.
So they're basically Judge Dredd, but kid friendly. So they're basically just Power Rangers, but they're cops.
They're cops. These are Power Ranger cops of the series. They stand for Space Patrol Delta.
Yeah, they also have aliens.
Yeah. So that's Anubis there with the dog face. And I will tell you this. It's a mild spoiler, but nothing that won't matter until we get to that point. He is not the only one of his race, and it gets very interesting based on that.
Okay.
I know he's a big furry dog man, and I did some things for people back then.
Besides the God, hopefully not. Hopefully didn't do the cum action figures with him.
It wasn't
But,
enough. Nope. We had to go around the places.
They have different types of colors with him as well. So you'll see a version of him in a different color and a different role.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about him. I was very confused. I was like, okay, this guy. All right, he's here. Whoever he
Yeah,
is.
if you don't know SPD, I haven't watched SPD personally, but I know enough based on the board game and just research that I've done that I know of him and who he is and what he does. But that's about it.
The guy that plays the Red Ranger is still acting, thankfully, and he is fucking swole.
Hell yeah, what a boss!
The only really thing about this to mention in this story is Drakon comes to their place too, and they beat back Drakon.
They don't. Well, look at this too. So if you look at one of the panels, Anubis is a ranger, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
And somehow his dog face fits into a regular helmet.
I didn't realize he was a ranger.
Yeah, the 00 Ranger is him.
Oh, wait, how does that dog face fit into that? That doesn't
Don't think,
make any
buddy. Don't
sense.
stop.
Don't worry
It's
about
almost as if the actor wearing it wasn't a dog in the Japanese show they stole it from.
Stop.
No. He's still a dog in the show. Don't worry. You can't fake a dog mask. So in the Japanese version and the American version, he's a dog man.
And in the board game, by the way, he's very good at clearing crowds. He's a good AOE type of character. What's just saying?
So you have them morph, and they beat back Lord Drakkon, which is I think one of Lord Drakon's first defeats because he doesn't lose very often.
Yeah, he well, let's not say he didn't lose necessarily, but he didn't fully accomplish what he wanted yet.
He didn't kill everybody. That was what you want to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely, and take their powers and beyond. But this was one of the first resistances that he had to endure.
And I think he gets a morpher out of this too. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so.
Or he doesn't get one?
The last one he got was the Samurizers. He didn't get one out of this because he couldn't defeat anybody. Everybody survived and kept their powers as well. So what was really their saving grace in this was their scientists that kept them out of it. Was it Dr. K or whatnot? Whatever the name was.
No, the doctor's later.
Oh, that's later. That's
that's next
that's RPM.
That's
Either
the
way,
next
they regardless. No, so Anubis was probably the one that really led the team and kept them out of this. But either way, they were not able to overcome them. So I mean, anybody that's a futuristic Power Ranger variation, Drakon seems to have a problem with. Apparently,
that's a fair way to put that.
Yeah, because the next one is the one he loses to them again too. And is this the?
This is the RPM here.
Okay.
Yep, RPM. Yes, this is the one.
I've never heard of RPM. Did not know what the fuck I was looking at.
Yeah, RPM's one I also did not watch. It's really weird. This is the one where they really, I'm probably wrong. Rich might know. This is the one where they really started getting to the whole like morphing grid stuff and like other Power Rangers or the other series are canon and stuff like that and all other stuff. They also get really meta. Like there's literally an episode where they're like, how come whenever we transform or whenever we transform, there's a big explosion happening behind us, and it's like, oh, that's power being pushed through your system and out the back.
Yeah,
and
meta as fuck.
Yeah, why do the robots have eyes? Stop questioning stuff, you fucking idiots, and just goddamn show.
So this is like the fallout of Power Rangers right here. The fallout, like if you watch the Fallout show or play the game, this is probably as close as you're going to get right here.
Okay, because it's like an apocalyptic world, and this is where he tries to trick them and get the doctor to join him, and the doctor shoots him.
He shows up as himself. He's like, "Oh, I'm here. I'm fine. I need to speak to Dr. K." Yes, this is it. And Dr. K is smart enough with her fucking bowl cut to finally like have a counteractive measure against the Black Dragon cannons, as we'll see as we go.
There's some cool stories. This, and then it's all, and there's a stupid subplot of her with a cake, but we don't need to talk about that. But who are these next ones in space?
Well, hold on. So are we skipping RPM, or what do you mean?
I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about RPM. Just they're there.
Well, yeah, no, he ruins her birthday, and she figures out that was a robot, I guess.
Yeah, or she didn't know. I don't think she knew that. She just shot him.
The star is RPM. They do their thing. They're a post-apocalyptic community that ends up doing what they can to hold off Drakon. But you also got Dr. K, who's the real brains of the operation, who has a further stake in the story as we go forward. So it is a very, very important sticking point as we go forward when it comes to character development and what
she made the virus or something.
Well, she is the one to counteract the dragon cannons, the black dragon cannons that are causing Rangers to lose their powers. And that's important to the current timeline of Rangers for when they figure that out, when they hear about it, for them to then go to Dr. K as we go. They go to Dr. K to figure out, like, how do we utilize that technology?
It makes this annual very important.
Yeah, it does. It's very important, actually. But in space, Joe might not feel the same way that I do about In Space. I actually in Space was for me, like, it was the first season to get me back into Power Rangers after Turbo, because Turbo, like, I was into Rangers from the initial introduction that we got from season 1, 2, and 3 to Alien Rangers, which was really rough to go through even as a kid, to Zeo Rangers. Then we had Turbo, and I was like, fuck this. What are we doing? I don't give a shit about cars, whatever, even though I drive a muscle car. That's a whole other story.
It wasn't at that time
yet. Maybe I would have cared about it more then if I had a muscle car at that time, but we skipped Turbo Rangers. That I hated it so much, and then we got into In Space. In Space is the one that got me back into Rangers, and I will say that as far as the community goes, if you reflect the community mind state at that time, it really draws in the storyline and wraps up everything from what Power Rangers came from season 1 when it comes to Zordon and everything. Like I said even earlier in this podcast, it wraps everything up and is the last appearance of Zordon before Lost Galaxy happens.
I always thought In Space was bad.
No. I think most people think it was good. It was a step in the right direction. And in my experience, it actually helped my interest in Power Rangers going forward, not only to watch In Space, but to also stay tuned for what happened with Lost Galaxy as well.
I might be thinking of Turbo, though.
You might be thinking of Turbo. Turbo was a rough patch, and if we're talking about all seasons, with the first 5 seasons or whatnot, Turbo was definitely one of the harder ones to endure. Even though they had a Camaro as the Lightning Cruiser, and I love Camaros, it didn't help anything.
So the guy in Space, that's not the guy that looks like Tommy with a red shirt. Isn't Tommy, correct?
No, that is Andros.
Why does he look like Tommy?
That's not Tommy.
I know, it looks like Tommy.
Look at his hair. Look at his hair. If you look at the actor, you will know it's not Tommy.
I know, but it just in the drawing, it looks like Tommy.
Sure. That's Andros, which is the only alien that's on the team. Everybody else is from Earth, and part of them, especially TJ, is from the Turbo time. TJ was the Turbo Ranger, the Red Ranger, before the In Space team.
Huh.
I mean, he becomes blue eventually.
Okay. All right. Well, you're dying. I'll talk a little bit more. Okay. The space stuff is just, wasn't very great. And he does technically beat them in here because he gets their morpher, but even though he does get ejected out in space, I think he kills everybody but one guy. So he's a pretty vicious, Lord Drakkon is vicious as fuck. And even that guy goes out in space, I'm like, you're probably not going to, you're going to freeze to death, buddy. So
I think that was the point. I think he's dead too.
Okay. Wait, there's still one more story.
Yeah.
What is this one? I don't know these Rangers at all.
Samurai.
I thought we just had Samurai. Or that Ninja something
Ninja.
else.
This is Ninja. My bad. This is Ninjas.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the one where in Japan we got a cowboy ninja because they realized we had American fans and it was really weird. And his transforming thing is a hamburger.
Japan likes cowboy stuff. We like samurai stuff. They like cowboy stuff. Okay, I didn't really care for this. I didn't know who these guys were, so I didn't really care for this story where they fight Lord Drakkon and then they kind of, I think they hold him back a little bit, but he still, they hold him back, but he still gets one of the stars because the guy breaks it or something for some stupid. He thinks he can get more power or something stupid. I don't know. It was dumb.
It has to do with what they did the first time. It's a dumb thing where he broke his star the first time because they were having trouble fighting the final boss. So he cut it in half so he could make, I guess, 3 of him or something. I don't know. It's not explained very well. I also didn't watch this season because this is also like a super deep Disney season where I was already like 15. I was like, I don't want to fucking watch this weird shit.
I'm too cool for this.
Yeah.
It sounds like he could spread his power out among other members of the team. So that's what I got out of it when I read it, because like I didn't watch this season either. So
Okay. And the very last thing is you see where Drakon got his power, but he got the little star thing I was talking about. And then
so this is Ninja Still, by the way, too, just as a reminder. Which was at this time, I think, was the most recent Power Rangers iteration at the time.
Oh, the time of the comic?
At the time of this comic, at 2018, I think Ninja Steel was the most recent one at the time, yeah.
We've had a few, haven't we?
What do you mean?
Since this time, we had a few other Power Ranger stuff that's come out
before
100%, they killed the franchise.
The last one that I remember is Cosmic Fury, yes.
Okay. I don't pay any attention, but I
Which
know
is not... The Cosmic Fury is not in the comic, as far as I remember.
The Cosmic Furies are weird. It is very much a Power Ranger season. We stole a bunch of stuff from it, but the costumes are ours, and they're not very good.
Yeah, and Tommy, or Billy, is in the fucking series as well, like right away.
Yeah, so that one's kind of weird because I think that one from the Japanese show, I want to say they have like 7 or 8 Rangers on that team. That's why Billy is there, because they have a second Blue Ranger.
Okay. That's still weird. All right, and then that takes us to Go-Go for an issue. Is there anything else you guys want to say about the annual?
Well, other than it was very fucking good, no. I have nothing to say about it.
Yeah, I liked it.
It was way better than any right to be.
For an annual, especially. Oh, yeah. Because you can go through the main series and not ever know about that, and just being as an annual, and it was like so important.
And then now we go to Go-Go Power Rangers issue 9. So I liked this cover, and I really like what Go-Go is doing during this event. A lot. This
right here, when I see this cover, it's like, to say the least, it's explosive. I mean, when you see the Ranger Slayer in the background, you really don't know what it means, but holy hell, is shit about to get real. And the Ranger Slayer, and I'll say this right now, has such a role in this series that what you see right now, enjoy it, but it gets so much bigger and better than what you see right now.
I like her a lot already.
So enjoy it. So remember that symbol of her in the background with these explosions and the electricity of her showing up. Just remember that, because that's her entire existence through the entire series.
I mean, I was so confused when the issue starts off and you see Bulk and a few other people running away from the Rangers. I thought the woman with them is Kimberly, because she looks kind of like Kimberly.
It is. That's the rebel version of the Ranger Slayer. That is her.
But no, but the one that shoots with the bow and arrow is Kimberly, not the one that's the purple hair that's with them. And there's 2 characters in this background. There's the bow and arrow.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, that's Rebel Ranger Slayer. That is her as well.
What? So they're both Kimberly?
Mm-hmm. One is going back into the past to do what she's got to do, and then you have one that's in the coinless world that is doing her job, which is...
They did not specify that very well, by the way.
Well, I'm telling you right now, that's Kimberly as well.
No wonder I thought they looked alike. But so you have a brief thing of seeing her, then it kicks to Kimberly in present of Go-Go, which is before the events of the Power Rangers other book that we've been reading. And this is when you see when her parents split up.
Yeah.
You guys should check your phone.
You know, you did send something. Let's see what we got here.
We make great radio. What the fuck did you say? That's the Cowboy Ranger he was talking about.
You got hamburger phone.
I'm pissed. That's Japanese as fuck. Fuck you and that Sentai shit, Joe. That's just not as American as that actually is. Like, it shouldn't be at all.
Yeah.
Somebody found that in Texas and got really excited.
I'm from Texas, and I got really excited.
Oh, okay. I forgot you are from Texas, because you're not Texas.
What part of Texas are you from?
I'm from Houston.
Houston. I want to go to Houston. I was in Texas, actually. I was in San Antonio, which is not too far, but
if I always have to recommend like an option to pick for touristy, you either go to Corpus or you go to San Antonio. I used to recommend Houston.
Wanted to go to Corpus because they have the Selena statue.
Yes, we all love the Selena statue.
Man, that would have been so. I didn't know it existed until I got back. I was so pissed.
Holy shit, Richard!
You just would like that.
Was
I
that?
have to go there. Tiff would like. I have to go to Dallas at least once in my life because I have to go see
Why
where
are
Kennedy
me
is
and
shot.
Tiff not closer? Because Tiff like has all the same like interest in music as I do. Why are we not closer? This is like annoying.
I love when I find out other people are Selena fans. It's like the best thing ever.
She's a Selena fan, yeah.
So I'm a
could care
Selena
less.
fan, but Sheila, like my woman, she's like so into Selena. Like it like if we knew about it beforehand, we would have made sure we went down there because it's like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours away from San Antonio.
Yeah,
That's not bad at all.
We would have went down there and like checked it out.
yeah. When I moved from Houston, I moved to like a little small town called Beeville. My husband lived there, and then Corpus was like a 45-minute drive. So one of the weekends that we would do is we'll wake up early Saturday and go down to like and make a trip out of Corpus. Yeah, so Corpus is a lot more gimmicky, and the Selena statue is always the best.
Mm. Even
Someday
the
I'm gonna
scenery,
go to Texas.
not only the Selena statue, but the scenery around it seems so nice, man.
Welcome to traveling with games my mom found.
So Kim's parents are getting divorced for some stupid reason. They're both awful people. Honestly,
They really are.
There's no there's no like they're trash
Redeeming?
throughout the whole story. Yeah, there's no redeeming quality between the parents ever. Like this is what we get right here, and that's it. So yeah, you're right.
They're just not good people. Like she's like her father, like this is like the best thing for you. She's like, no, I don't think it's the best thing, but I think it's worse if we stay together.
And she's probably fucking right. Like,
oh yeah, no, couples that like when you're at each other's throats like that, it's not better to stay together at that point. Like,
right,
you're not doing the kid any favors.
Yeah, but they're also just genuinely awful to each other too. Like
they're really bad to each other.
They even say they're like, yeah, we stopped talking to her and we found ways to treat each other worse anyway. Like, I mean, some people just cannot handle.
That's real life.
When your relationship falls apart, people can't handle it sometimes, and you end up resenting your partner. Like, I get it, and then Rita realizes somebody else is there with Morphin powers, and she sends Goldar to go investigate. I do like the thing where Matthew isn't talking to anybody because he knows they're lying to him.
Purely sitting there, he's investigating. I don't even know if he knows that they're lying to him, because as we go further along in the series, especially the last issue, he doesn't fully know the way that he talks to Kim. So for him, it's just research. He's more concerned with himself and what it means to him with his connection to why he's getting kidnapped, why he's getting targeted. It has nothing to do with the people around him necessarily yet. And that's what we see.
Yeah, he doesn't know yet. He does figure out who they are in this comic.
I don't think he even says it yet. Even
it's in the Shattered Grid.
Oh, did you read the whole fucking thing?
I read the whole Shattered Grid, yeah, of course. I've been waiting a year for this crap. You think I was going to wait any longer?
I'm trying to keep it in the scope of the 7 issues we did, but yes, beyond the 7 issues, yeah.
This is all one episode, so it's fair game for me to make the comment. So
okay, go ahead.
I mean, this is just split up for us, but not for the listeners who get a 4-hour.
I got you.
4-hour podcast at the rate we're going. So
go ahead.
And then you get to see them, and then they do hear that there's trouble. They morph to go fight Goldar, and then this is where the Ranger Slayer shows up for the first time.
And what a shit show that is. Rita sends Goldar down knowing, like, you're garbage. Like, just go ahead and go. Let's add to the distraction, but realistically, all she gives a shit is about the Pink Ranger's powers, the Ranger Slayer's powers at this point.
Yeah, she just wants to know who and what she is.
That's it. And Goldar, like when you get that almost a full page fucking like shot of the Ranger Slayer, like she's no joke. She's experienced. She knows. She's been through turmoil. She's been through because what we're dealing with are the Go-Go Rangers. The Go-Go Rangers don't know shit. She's on the wrong timeline, and she says it as we go. So
I love her. She's like, "Where's Lord Drakkon?"
Yeah, she has no idea. So like she's in the wrong timeline. These other Rangers are like green as fuck. They have no idea what's going on. And then you got the Ranger Slayer, who's a veteran, an extreme veteran with, like, if you look at her bow, is the fucking evil sword modified. She's on the opposite end of the spectrum of the Green Rangers that don't know shit. So it's
a really cool concept too to have that.
It's such a sweet suit too. I don't know.
I love it.
I don't know who the fuck they get to design these things. They should have gotten whoever did this stuff with this and the Drakon suit. They really should have gotten them to design the fucking suits for that new TV show, because the new TV show design suits are ass. this suit is just so many good.
She's
Just
a badass.
just adapt the fucking comic. Let's shut the fuck up and
At this
adapt the
point, yeah,
comic.
just that comic. Like, there's no reason not to at this point. Like, I know they're not going to, but like everything you need is right here. And then Kimberly starts looking into herself, thinking that's going to be her future self, that she's going to be a piece of shit.
Yeah, that you can imagine. Think about it, right? If you were that ranger and you see yourself, your future self, it's like, oh shit, that's supposed to be me with the short hair and whatever. Like that's supposed to be me. Like it takes a toll on you.
I think
I
that's
love how they.
Because what would 15-year-old Mike think of 37-year-old Mike?
Definitely nothing the same.
I mean,
Definitely.
to be fair, I'm not that different.
I remember. What did you say? 15 or 17? I knew 15 or 15-year-old Mike.
Yeah, but 15.
You would never think the same.
But 37-year-old Mike also has a giant Eevee, Snorlax, and Gengar on his couch not too far from him, and is surrounded by toys and video games, so it's not that far off.
But is that 37-year-old Mike presenting that to 15-year-old Mike? No, he's not. He's trying to kill him. there's a difference.
Full offense. If I'm 30, if I'm at my 15-year-old self, hands would be thrown at that exact moment.
Absolutely, bro.
15-year-old Mike wasn't too dumb. 18-year-old Mike, he's a little dumb, but 15-year-old Mike wasn't too dumb.
If 15-year-old Rick met 30-year-old Rick, 15-year-old Rick would probably like cower in fear. But that's another story.
So this one, I'm a little confused too. That's why I'm glad you're here, Rich, because you mentioned that earlier, because I totally didn't know that as well. I was super confused from the beginning of this. So this isn't the same Ranger Slayer that we see in the future as well, because this one is obviously evil?
It can't be, because if she's over here infiltrating the Go-Go timeline, that other Ranger, she's clearly beyond that. She's got a wooden, even look at her weapon. She's got a wooden bow and arrow. It's not the evil version that Tommy used that was modified into her bow. It's not the same thing. So she's beyond that. She's past that. So no, it's not the same thing. The Rebel Pink Ranger, which is what I have in my board game of Power Rangers. I have a evil Ranger Slayer, and I also have a Rebel Ranger Slayer. This is an indication of that.
You will find out more about that when we finish Shattered Grid if you haven't yet.
Okay,
100%.
That is weird.
Her story is wrapped up to a degree.
I will say this, listen to me, as I've read the entire series of the original run, like the Ranger Slayer has a role throughout. So don't forget that.
Interesting.
I cannot wait, because I bought this Funko Pop pretty much immediately after reading this issue. So
it's still in a box that I have not opened. I feel you.
I have that sweet, like whatever the fuck it's called statue that I bought.
That is a sweet statue.
You got the statue like Ranger Slayer?
Yeah.
Because he posted it before in the chat.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
When he was confused that he walked by and never realized the bow was the sword from the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
He walked by it every single day for like years.
That's so special. I love it.
And then you have a good moment that I do want to talk about where Jason ends up getting a phone call he shouldn't get about his dad, which we never hear much about his parents up until now.
That's rough, man. That's rough, yeah.
I was thinking that too.
This is the first time they actually introduced that.
It's a good moment to kind of show they're dealing with a lot of stuff. That's what makes Go-Go so interesting. It's so much about them as humans and not them as Ranger.
You can't imagine what we all have dealt with as teenagers, to not only deal with what we dealt with at that time, but to also we also got to defend the world from alien invaders. Yeah. You can't even imagine it.
And finding out your father has, because essentially I'm assuming they find out he has cancer.
Yeah.
And as a guy whose father does have cancer, has had it 5 times, it's never the first time he told me. Well, remember, tears.
You and me both, both of our fathers have cancer, and it's not the way he deals with it is I get it.
This also kind of makes me sad, because reading this really reminds me of what we didn't get of the live action too, because you can kind of tell in the newer the movie that we watched, it's kind of the same concept where they're trying to make them a little bit more human. So seeing that and seeing this makes me wish I really wish we had gotten those 4 or 5 other fucking movies we were supposed to get.
Hey man.
So I will say this, I love Jason is my guy. You've seen my bookcase where I have all the the Red Rangers and their different forums and whatnot. Like,
Yeah.
Jason is my connection to Power Rangers, and definitely. But like to see that it causes a lot of turmoil within me, like within this. Like it sucks to see where he ends up in the comics because I wish it was better. His ending is not necessarily where I feel it should be.
Okay.
Before that, you guys hear me now. You will enjoy his run before that, but where it ends, maybe it's not where it should be. Being the meaning of what Jason and the Red Power Ranger powers mean to that person. But we'll see as we go. And you can give me your opinion when that comes.
Okay, we will for sure. I can guarantee you that part. And then this issue ends with Rita goes to meet the Ranger Slayer, and she used her Zord to transfer through time, but the Zord lost its power, and then she energizes it back up. So it can.
Rita makes herself like valuable as far as powering the Zord that's there in this timeline. Yes.
Yeah.
And here is where my rant goes. Fuck you, Hasbro, you motherfuckers.
Can't wait.
We could have had it all. Look at that fucking thing. That is the coolest fucking thing I have ever seen. What do you mean we don't have all 5 versions of the fucking Ranger Corps that Lord Drakkon has? We didn't get that. We only got, we got the Red Ranger, which is enough. But, we could have gotten that turtle mech. We could have had this. We could have had it all. And, we're not getting enough money from the Power Ranger stuff because you're not making shit people want, you guys. And
That's it.
And then you can't say, we don't want anyone people want. Rich, you've told me twice that the fucking Omega Rangers sold out. Oh, but no one gives a shit. Eat my ass, Hasbro. I still gotta pay $200 for that goddamn Legacy Morpher because I couldn't pre-order it because everyone else fucking pre-ordered it.
But hey, thanks to eBay, someone saved one for you.
Yeah, so now I got
double the MSRP.
That is my Christmas gift this year from me to me is buying that thing for like $150 fucking dollars. Yeah.
Yo, there you go. I love it.
But it's such a sweet mech. Holy shit, that is a fucking sweet mech.
The grave
I like it too.
Mech. Like it's yes. I don't hate it, and I'm glad they incorporated it. And we'll get into that more as we go because we got to break it down too.
God, yeah.
That is my rant for this thing. That was my rant. Fuck you, Hasbro. I can't believe you sold Power Rangers. Eat my ass.
We still have 3 more issues to talk about. By the way,
how hard is it? Why do we have to go through Disney and Hasbro and all these companies? Like, I don't know what to do with it. Why don't you know what to do with it? You don't understand the property that much.
No, I don't. Saban did, but Saban's an asshole. So
you don't have a team that understands a property that like really like that grew up with it. Get the people that grew up with it and then have them build something out of it. I mean, that's what I feel like what happened with the comic. You had a group of people that grew up with the content and they understood it. And here we are because we're still talking about the comic now because that's the best thing that we have. Like, why can't a toy company or anything else grab onto that? It's not that fucking hard.
It costs so much more money than it does to produce a comic, so you're willing to take chances.
I suppose so.
I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, the printing costs are one thing, and then you got to pay the artists and the writers. But like when you're looking at toys, you got to run a factory, and then you have all these other idiots.
Toys, but actors and everybody else to like continue
but
actual show.
And the other issue is if thing doesn't make, double, triple what you spent in it, it wasn't worth it.
Sure. No, that's just that's capitalism. Yeah, as we speak.
Late stage capitalism has not been helping at all.
Oh God, no. I mean, who would have thought our country can be run by a billionaire that's not from that was born in South America, or South Africa? Who would have thought? So,
ignoring politics, on to speaking of capitalism, Free Comic Day.
Free Comic Book Day. Yep. This issue is more important than it should be.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of a recap, but also it introduced things I've never seen before that I wanted to ask if these were ever a thing. So it starts off with where Lord Drakkon took out the Samurai Rangers, and then it shows Zordon telling Alpha that he's like, I need to do something about this, and I'm going to contact whoever these gods are, essentially.
They are the Morphin.
The emissaries.
Yeah. Okay. Have they ever been introduced anywhere before?
Never. No. Emissaries are first introduced right now. And this is like, if I'm right, this is because I'm reading different than you guys are, I assume. I'm reading through the Shattered Grid continuation, the compilation. This is the free comic. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so you can imagine how many people might have not only skipped this, but not, or maybe skimmed over it. But this is a very important comic to where, they didn't like to be a free comic. They included so many important features and
That's not uncommon.
right. Like this is it right here, and you gotta pay attention to what's being talked about.
I do like with the emissaries, you have a red, a blue, and a yellow, and they keep changing in different panels. They have different Rangers outfits on.
Because they're demigods.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll explain it this way. As we go forward in the Power Rangers like comic continuum, the emissaries are demigod, and then you go for the Morphin Masters, which are like the gods of the morphing grid. So think about that as you go forward. Though the emissaries, they might not entirely know that this is like super important, but they're debating it. Do we take this into consideration? Do we think this is like something we should be paying attention to? These are the demigods before the gods themselves really pay attention. The emissaries are very, very important as we go forward, and this is not the only time we'll see them.
I've also heard these guys are chodes.
To an extent, yes. You're not entirely wrong.
Okay.
I don't know what that word means.
They're assholes.
Oh, okay.
That there's more to it than that. But yes.
I'll take that description just fine.
Just take it as that. They don't understand even though they're assigned to like understand the grand scope of things, they don't seem to understand the grand scope of things, because Zordon is telling them, hey, this shit's getting real. It's going to be very bad on the morphing grid and everything else beyond. Not only our world, but the morphing grid, because that's the story, right? Like, you got to worry about the worlds that you're trying to defend. But, all right, what's beyond the worlds you're trying to defend? The morphing grid. The morphing grid encompasses everything. Not only the worlds that you're trying to defend, but also other dimensions, right? So, like Zordon is talking about many different scenarios, and even the emissaries are like, well, I don't know. So this is where we're at right now with this storyline.
I think in the comic they got so popular, I think they're even in the newer Power Ranger stuff too.
I hope so. I'll tell you when I read the second one, but we'll see.
But this is also like a prequel, right? Because it kind of shows all of them before they become Power Rangers.
It shows the first episode.
Yes. As we get past the emissaries, yes.
Yeah, it's just a recap of
Zordon's trying to like explain the value of the Rangers that he has right now. Yes, that is somewhat, in a sense, a prequel.
And it shows how they met Tommy, except I don't think that's... Yeah, it shows one version of Tommy, then it shows Lord Drakkon, the Coinless World. But hey, you get to see what happened to Rita in the Coinless World, which we never saw before.
Yeah, that's what I remember, that it was in this, which confused me because I thought Rita was alive in the Coinless World.
You never see her.
Yeah, and that's why I was
Rita,
like, okay,
no. They actually covered it. They covered it before. She was killed by Drakon, and that's what, in a sense, made him the Drakon that we know now, is because he killed her.
But we didn't get to see it.
Okay, because I was like, I know they still play videos of her big ass on the TV screens. Does he just not want to make a new one and just uses Rita's old recordings?
I mean, to be fair, she's a figurehead in a sense at this point. I mean, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, I can guarantee you, if Hitler would have won World War II, he would have taken over the world, we would still be watching videos of him. He's long dead. I mean, I think this would have been the world. Like, that's what happened when you're a dictator. So
I think, to be fair, because this is a really good free comic book day issue, I think it does what it does, which is, hey, look at all this really cool shit. You should go read the comic. And it's like, yeah, this...
Oh, it does it for sure.
If I had seen this, I would have probably fucking went and read the Power Ranger stuff.
And then I guess because of Zordon doing this, he gave up his chance to become one of them or something, to become a demigod, is what they kind of say here.
No, they basically just kind of tell him to fuck off, is basically what it is. They're like, if it's not bad enough to where we have to get involved, so just buy kind of what it is.
But they also make comment, we hope to see you, but now we won't.
Mike's not entirely wrong. Like, so Zordon did invoke them much earlier than he should have, for reasons that he deemed worthy of like contacting them, but they don't know it yet. And Zordon's 100% right. He should have contacted them right away, because Drakon's ambitions are so dire, they're so serious that it will demolish every type of dimension that is connected to them, to the Morphin grid. The emissaries don't know that as
They
he's
don't believe it
speaking.
either.
They don't believe it, and he was right to do it, but it didn't pan out the way that it should have.
And then the very last panel is Drakon with all a bunch of different morphers floating in front of him to show you what he's been up to. So I'm sure that would have grabbed people too. Why does one of the morphers look like an inhaler?
They get really weird looking. One looks like a big battery too.
Yeah, they're weird.
At least half of them are phones.
And then that brings us to issue 27. This is a cool cover. You have the two Red Rangers, the one from Samurai, and then you have Jason on the cover.
And he's also wearing the big armor.
Like that. I don't like what it means because me Tommy's dead, but I do like it. It's very cool. And this has some interesting things. It starts with Drakon's world, and it has Skull, where it shows you that Skull is one of the Royal Guards for the Power Ranger world.
Yep. And with the Lightning Collection Red Century Ranger that I have, it makes me always feel better that it's Skull underneath that helmet.
Awesome.
Oh, it came with the Skull face?
What's that?
Did it come with Skull as one of the optional heads to switch it to?
No. There's no optional heads with it. But it just, if you get a Red Century, that's what I like to think that it is.
Okay. I thought maybe they would have actually put the little head in there as another switchable thing.
No, that would have been cool to hell, but then you would have too much faith into Hasbro, but don't do that.
I already heard about that. So no, I get it. I hear a lot of complaints about Hasbro I'm in a part of a toy group on Facebook, and they bitch about stuff too.
They did a good job with the Lightning Collection, in my opinion. They did a good job for the most part, but for them to sell off the assets of the company, no, absolutely not. They really failed.
What is that weird thing people complaining about now, which I think is actually a really fair thing to complain about? It's like the new Star Wars figurines no longer come in like open plastic. They're all in like...
That's been a thing for a while. It's all their Marvel Legends. They went to a point where everything is in cardboard, but then you can't see the figure. And for a lot of collectors, you want to be able to see the figure. That's why you bought it. I mean, I get it. Like the idea they said they're doing it to help save the planet is really, I'm sure, help save our bottom line. But like... I'm usually okay with stuff like that that's more eco-friendly, but this is one of those few cases where it's like the point of why people are buying this is to put it on a shelf and not open it, and you're taking away the point.
I'm looking at right now, like the Red Ranger with the dragon shield on him. That was more the later, and the Green Ranger secondary version, to where they don't let you see what the figure looks like without the cardboard, and that hurts. And that was a bad move on Hasbro, and it was more of a cost cutting
100%.
feature on their end, more so than it was for the consumer. And I mean, we know it, and yeah, they can pretend all they want, but it hurts. It really hurts because like me, I don't open boxes as much as and I'm thinking about it. Like it causes me to think about opening the boxes and just posing them the way that I want to. Partly because I can't open some of the boxes, without seeing what's in there because of that closed feature that they introduced.
It takes it away, and it was stupid because it only served one point.
Yeah, it wasn't for the consumer at all. It was for the company.
Yeah, and also you have the Black Ranger from the Coinless world is also tied up to a chair because he got captured, and that's what the Red Ranger thing is showing, or the Skull is up to. So, and then I think they talk about they see on their little map, they really talk about how all the dimensions are cut from the grid, and that's why all these different times, because they're essentially just timeline, but they can jump from world to world, and it shows a little like splash page of all the different worlds where Drakon's fighting. I still kept thinking Jen was Kimberly all the time because the faces.
No, don't do that. Definitely a different character. And please, let's off air. Let's talk about the Hyperforce as we go. Hyperforce. Jen is a part of that. So Jen is it's part of Time Force, right? Hyperforce is very connected to that. It's almost like a academy underneath the Time Force, to where they can jump from time to time and do things, and they'll be in the comic later. So it's just more of like, the more you know about the Hyperforce, the more you know about the comic as we go forward. And I really, really feel we should cover that as we go, but we can cover that offline. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I'm already having a hard time convincing Mike to do a 3-hour YouTube video. This is looks like a 20-hour, 20 or between 2 and 3 hour each episode, 28 episode list. Yeah, that
Good luck.
might. Yeah.
No, we can do it. You know, it is what it is. Invoke the alternate timeline Rich to go there and like assassinate him in another timeline. We'll figure it out.
Yes, I'll see if there's like some kind of like catch up thing or something we can watch. You know, like
Okay, I think
like a summary, yeah. But yeah, if we can summarize it, absolutely, because every episode is like 3 hours long. That's a lot to endure.
Okay,
So
and then
if we could summarize it, yeah.
And then they have one map where they do see that the world with Dr. K was able to fight Lord Drakkon, so then they go there to find out why she could win. Well, Jason
And that's because of the Black Dragon powers that are they're able to resist the Black Dragon cannon.
Yes, which is really the only reason why he wins. So,
which is the only reason Jason went, yes, with the other Red Ranger.
And then the other couple of the other Rangers, Billy, Zach, and Trini, go to the coinless world and meet up with the rebels. What's left of them? When they even talk about how like almost everybody's dead.
Yep.
So I didn't want to bring this up. So when they go to Dr. K's world, they end up running in. You see or at least a panel of the Psycho Rangers. You see the pink one in the background as part of the Ranger group that Lord Drakkon has.
They match all the regular colors that the In-Space Rangers have. So the In-Space Rangers had red, yellow, pink, silver, black. What am I missing? Was yellow?
I don't know.
Right? Yellow.
It's the original colors, I believe.
Okay.
So the Sixth Ranger was like, so you had the original Prime colors, and then you had the Sixth being silver. The Psycho Rangers reflected that. Even though earlier on in the story we had a Green Ranger, which was not a part of the show, but which is comic original, but that's another story.
Oh yeah, there's even a comment in here where Zordon's like, "Yeah, I failed before and sent people when I shouldn't have," and I'm like, "You say so, huh?"
You don't say.
In the Go-Go stuff, and one of them he makes a comment about it.
No shit. Yeah, Zordon has been around for thousands of years, if not longer. Like for him to not have majority of the answers that they seek is a detriment to his part.
Oh, that's a spoiler.
What?
Oh man, I don't know how you guys are going to feel about that.
You're reading stuff you shouldn't be?
No. It has nothing to do with this. So it has nothing to do with this. So I can tell you all that.
I read it all anyway, but it is what it is.
So you know how in we read the Godzilla Power Rangers.
Yes.
So in the sequel, when it's the sequel Power Rangers Godzilla one, where they all become kaiju, the Psycho Rangers also become the enemy kaiju.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Now we need to read that sooner than later. Now, huh?
We gotta stop looking around and read that. Yes.
Well, it's not over yet. I don't think it's over yet. So
is it ongoing? Really?
Yeah, it's ongoing.
No, it's just a miniseries. It should be over.
I think they still have one more left. I think they have one more left.
It's supposed to only be 6 issues. I think that's neither here nor there. But this issue ends with you see the pink Psycho Ranger in the background and maybe the blue Psycho Ranger, and then he just has more and more Rangers as part of his force because he's been killing everybody and taking their powers. Because he's an asshole. Because Lord Drakkon is really an asshole. Good fucking villain though.
I will say this, like as I read through the entire series by this point, he's one of the most interesting, enduring enemies that I've ever seen in a comic to this point.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see where things go. And I won't spoil it.
I'm excited for the other events that are coming. I'm excited for Necessary Evil, which is coming.
You're gonna love it all. You're gonna love it all. I'll tell you.
Noticing that.
Yeah.
I do miss TMNT though. I won't lie about that one. But
we'll that's something you and I got to talk about on the side of this. But yes, I feel that too because I miss TMNT too.
I didn't realize it's a new suit either. So we also get more of him. Drakon also has more Ranger Corps people, but
he gets a huge amount of people.
What he's got right now is the Samurai'zers because he's transitioned those into his own army. But other than that, he hasn't had too much more of a accommodation other than that.
Yeah, but he also has a newer suit whenever they see him out in the distance.
Oh yes, and that's because of the Samurai'zers as well. So not only has he incorporated that in his army, but also his own personal powers as well as Finster 5 has told him like it's going to be a risk every fucking time he runs into this BS.
And he don't give a shit.
He doesn't give a shit anytime.
All right. And that ends this issue, and that goes us to the last issue we're going to talk about in this section before we take our, short break. We are going to talk about Go Go Power Rangers number 10. Fuck, this cover is cool. It's just the grave Zord on the cover.
So upset.
Rich, you probably know better than me which Zord that's made up of.
Hold on, I'm still trying to catch up because I'm doing the whole Shattered Grid compilation. I'm trying to catch up.
Okay.
All right, so the Grave Zord. I will admittedly say, I don't know entirely.
Oh, that's fine.
I will point out two at least. So when you look at the chess piece, if you're looking at the cover, you're looking at the White Tiger Zord, right? So that's Tommy in the future with the White Tiger Zord.
Oh.
And you got the right arm, which is the Red Dragon Thunder Zord, which is season 2 of Power Rangers, which is used for this Zord. The others are very similar to me, and if I really did the research, I'm sure I would understand. But those two are the biggest ones possible. So as we have the Zord fights and anything else that and incorporate this Grave Zord, we have just keep in mind the White Tiger, which is supposed to be Tommy.
Yeah, I was wondering
in the
why that's
future.
there.
And that's there too, because Tommy doesn't use it. He uses the Black Dragon.
Oh,
And
good point. So I guess he doesn't need the.
And the coinless world, Tommy doesn't need that. He has the White Tigers is destroyed. It's there. Besides that, the Thunder Red Dragon Zord, which is season 2, which is the red, which is Jason's second Zord, is also destroyed, and they can use it towards this Graveyard Zord. So that's where we're at with this cover.
Okay.
And that tail you see coming out of his mouth is also part of the Red Dragon Zord. So keep that in mind.
Okay. All right. And then this issue starts off where it's again in the future with the other Kimberly in the coinless world, showing like where they were just, watching the patrols. And you get a little bit of her story in each of these issues.
Yeah. It's very, very, keep it in mind, guys. Being that I've seen this already, keep it in mind that the Pink Ranger, the Ranger Slayer, with what she's been through in her lifetime and where she's going to go in her storyline, she will be with this story for a very, very long time. So remember that.
You have a small moment where Skull tries to throw a balloon at Billy. He catches it and throws it back, or Bulk does. I think that's cool. That's a cool little moment.
I love all of it, that he's being more aware, that he's more trained. I love every second of that.
They really do a good job with Billy in this comic.
They do. And wait till you see it till later on. You guys still don't even know. This is nothing compared to what they do with this guy. Like it's enjoy it now.
I was gonna say too, I like what they do with everyone. Everyone has their moment of shine, and it's really great that we all get these little kind of mini arcs for all of them.
That's what makes Go-Go also even better. Like, I didn't think Go-Go was going to be as good as it is.
Guys, let's dig even deeper when you talk about like Bulk and Skull, like how even though they're fucking shitheads, typically, like even when the Pink Ranger, like the rebel Pink Ranger Slayer, is talking to Bulk, he's like, "Oh yeah, I loved history class and I loved everything about it." She's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, that was our. So we're living secret lives. I'm the Pink Ranger. You're a history buff that acted like an asshole." Like, I mean, that's so important as we go forward.
It's just so cool. I mean, I love all the building, the character building here. They do.
I love it. Bulk and Skull, they never shit on as they're just complete losers. They always make them seem as if there's something more than what they could have been. And I love every second of it.
Yeah, it's well done. And then the stuff with Matthew where you have Kimberly getting mad at him. She's like, "I'm your girlfriend. Like, answer me."
Yeah, really. Like Kim's like not pulling any punches. She's not playing the bullshit anymore. She's been through enough. And I mean, to the point to where Matt shows her this entire all right, so who here has watched Dexter? Anybody?
I'm assuming you don't mean Dexter's Laboratory.
No, I'm not talking about Dexter's Laboratory.
I have watched a good chunk of it, yes.
The serial killer.
Yes, good show.
TV show. Okay. All right. Joe, how are you with that?
I've heard of it. I know of it. I'm at least familiar with it, but and then the meme of surprise motherfucker. But yeah, I'm not real
surprise motherfucker. But I love that, by the way. I'm glad you brought that up. But besides that, this is similar to that. It's like where they Matt does not know this secret. Like, he's clearly showing he doesn't know who the Rangers are. But he's so close. He's so fucking close to figuring it out and tying it to his own life. Like, and Kim's like, yeah, really? Huh? As we go to the next panel, it's ridiculous. And I love it that it has like some ties and connections to like Dexter to Power Rangers that I love every second of it.
That's not what I expected. I'm sorry.
I mean, look at the board. This guy is not fucking
Yeah,
around. He's
I
dead
like the
serious.
board.
I mean, when you think, like, really, if a space alien, like, not only did you get abducted on the moon and like not want to eat and you escape, and then they like portray you as a putty or whatnot, like you would. I feel like I would be mad if it was me. I would be mad. They did such a good job with that.
Yeah, they do. They do. I really like that, and she knows the truth. You know, she knows. Like, yeah, you're right because you're
Yeah,
my
Kim's
boyfriend.
like,
I'm a ranger.
yeah,
They know.
yeah. Kim was like, huh. She didn't say the ranger part, but she was like, you know. I love it.
It's well done. And then this is when you have Jason talking to Zordon because he wants Zordon to help him save his father.
That actually
That's
that
also
hurts.
touching.
I think me and you, Mike, can kind of relate to that. Like where it comes to that, and it's like, well, I've saved the world. How many? I feel like I would have done the same. Like I'm a very dedicated worker. I go out of my way for a company. That's
I mean, hey, Zordon just showing that capitalism. Like, hey, I gave you a pizza party. What are you guys upset for? My God.
Yeah, like you got pepperoni on that pizza. Like, what's the problem? Like, but like I feel that. Like, I feel like, and it's more because Mike. Since I was a kid, I always connected to the Red Ranger, no matter what. And reading this part, it really hurt me a lot because I was like, both of our fathers, are battling cancer and whatnot, and probably at the end of their cycle sooner than later. And to see this again is like, fuck. Like, I feel like I would have been the exact same way.
Yeah,
As
you have powers and have the ability. Like,
yeah. Like, why can you not accommodate me? I've saved the world so many fucking times. I feel like I would have been more bitter than Jason was at the end of this, and that shows just how strong and how resilient his character is throughout this series, that he didn't get what he wanted and he continued to do what he had to do to make
he didn't
things
just
right.
leave.
Yeah.
It's well done. And then the way they get out of the school, because they're like, no, we're doing the Power Rangers protocol now. You guys are all locked down, and Matthew hits the fire alarm for them to get out.
Yeah, what a fucking what a chance that was. And they say it too, like, oh, what fortune that it was for that to happen. Not that it mattered, because the Gravesword is not a joke.
No, and then they go to and they fight without the Megazord too, which I think is interesting. They try to fight the Gravesword
because they can't.
Oh, why can't they?
They tried. The Gravesword shut them down.
Oh, okay. They weren't able to do the little ritual.
They definitely tried. Like, oh, we need Megazord power now, and they're like, okay, like right here, Dinozord powered, right? And it shows all 5 Zords, and it says they just get shut down every time as you go. Every Zord gets shut down. Like, you see the pterodactyl trying to do the chest plate on the Tyrannosaurus, and the Gray Zord shuts it down every time. And the Ranger Slayer says, I've been here. I've done this before. Like, I know what you're gonna do. Like, it's not like, stop. Please stop. The Rangers don't understand. Like, when the Mastodon is trying to do his ice move against the Zord, the Grave Zord, and you got the Tiger Zord doing the fire. The Zach doesn't know what that is. The White Ranger isn't a real possibility in their timeline.
Oh yes, they're not used to any of these attacks.
They don't know what that is yet.
Yeah.
And they don't have their Green Ranger. They can't summon the Dragon Zord anytime they want because he's fucking dead.
And then while they're fighting the Gravesword that's being remote control, you have a small scene where Matt runs out there like, "Hey guys, I'm over here." Like, he gets involved.
Besides, let's cut back a bit. Zordon cannot give his opinion because Zordon is ready. He says, Rangers, if there's indeed crafted from Zords, there may be a weakness in, and then he gets cut off.
And because she's there.
Yeah, because of the Ranger Slayer, yes. Because the Ranger Slayer, and she explains it, because Alpha's like, yo, what the fuck? Why are you here and the Zord's still doing what it does? She's it's AI, whatever. And she says it. She's used to the Rangers' routine. She knows it because she's older. She of course she knows.
She's a Ranger too, so like, yeah.
Yes. So she uses AI to control the Zord. Not only shut down Zordon and Alpha, but that how debilitating. I've never in my entire time of reading and watching Power Rangers have seen such a debilitating time in the Power Rangers timeline other than what we've seen right now. And that's what the Ranger Slayer is doing. If anything, the Ranger Slayer is almost more dangerous than Lord Drakkon will ever be because of the things that we see right now. And not only that, you will see what I mean as we go along in the series as we go.
Yeah. I like how she tortures Alpha 5. She's like, the great thing about robots, you can beat the shit out of them.
Oh yeah, they can take it forever.
Yeah.
You know,
Take more damage than a normal person.
yeah. You know what kills me about Squat? As you see, I live to serve. It sounds like Warcraft 2. Yes, my lord.
We're
Yes, my
nobody.
lord.
God.
Every time I hear something or see something from Squat, it's always like Warcraft 2.
You have no idea how bad I want to put that game on this podcast and play through it again just because, like,
Oh, you're tempting, buddy. If you ever do it, let me know. I might be down.
You have time?
You would let me know what you're trying to go for.
Yeah, you would know it months ahead of time, but I have thought about it. I have thought about Warcraft a few times. I might do StarCraft.
That's one of the first. StarCraft's rough for me. I probably can't do StarCraft, but I can do Warcraft. That's one of the first RTS that I've ever played that, like, when I was like 10, 11.
Because of Bill. Bill got us into
Not
those.
even. No, this is pre-Bill. This is before I met you.
You found it before Bill?
This is before you and Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, this would be an interesting story. So if you want to do it, let me know. We can maybe figure something out.
We'll see. I have only up to April planned so far, but I have a lot of ideas.
That's fine. We could talk about it.
And then this issue ends. Present day Kimberly realizes something's wrong and teleports and stops Ranger Slayer at the headquarters.
Mm-hmm. Also, Matt's doing something on top of a building.
He's being stupid. Is what
He's
doing.
putting himself on. Yeah, legitimately, he's being fucking stupid. Like, if we were all normal humans, like, hey guys, pay attention to me. It's like, no, don't do that. Like, Bulk and Skull wouldn't do that shit. Matt is out here doing that.
You'll want to know what happens to Matt because he's not in Mighty Morphin, which takes place after Go-Go. So I'm curious.
Oopsie, Mike. I can't wait to find out.
I'm not going to Google it.
I'm pretty sure Joe knows, but fuck you, Joe. Don't say anything.
I won't say anything.
Like you said, he didn't spoil Kingdom Hearts for freaking 3 years or so. It took us to go through that series. We're still not even done yet.
It's a build up, Mike. It's you'll see, man. It's interesting.
All right, I think that concludes all the issues that we're going to talk about, and we're going to take a short break, not going to be gone for 2 weeks, and then you will come back and hear the second half. We talk about the rest of the issues of this run. We're back from our break. So now we're going to continue with part 2 of Shattered Grid. At least for us, because we needed a break. You know, it's only been a couple minutes, not 3 weeks at all, only a couple minutes. So we're going to pick back up with Shattered Grid, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 28. I like this cover. This is a good cover.
Okay, cover's pretty damn nice.
You have, so on one side you have the Ranger force of the current Ranger, and the other side you have you have the Drakon's force all in the different suits fighting each other, and it looks cool.
It'd be a bit confusing for anybody that hasn't followed the series up to this point. And they see this cover like, what the fuck? The Rangers versus Rangers, you know? It's cool.
Oh yeah, you'd have no idea if you just happened to walk by and see this cover there. Like, what the fuck am I looking at? But that's probably the idea too. I mean, I might get you to pick up the book, even though if you pick up the book at this point, I'm sorry, it won't make no sense. You could pick up the Go-Go's and read those without knowing what's going on with Shattered Grid. You could not pick up Mighty Morphin and read without knowing what's going on. You would be too confused.
Yeah, I don't think they advertise the Power Rangers comic as like something you can pick up wherever. I know they do that for other comics. I say because I've gotten to other comics at least at some point. But I think for the most part they advise like you should probably at least go through the Power Rangers comics, which is even weirder because like there is a point in what we're covering today where there's, I think I said Mighty Morphin and Go-Go literally have different scenes from different perspectives that run in tangent with each other. So it's like, you're not going to get that unless you're reading it in like the order you find.
And this series doesn't like compartmentalize, different storylines either. Like typically they follow each other. Like you see a character way later on and you skipped a bunch of storylines beforehand. You're gonna be like, what the fuck is the significance of this person? What do they truly mean? Like they don't mean as much because you're skipping so far ahead.
I mean, it's just confusing for people in general. Like a friend of mine, Phoebe, she listened to us talk about this, and she went to go pick up Morphin Power, or no, what is it called now? Not Mighty Morphin. Is it just Morphin Power Rangers or Power Rangers?
Power Rangers Prime.
No, not even one. It was a different one. It was what this
Well,
after this ends, and I'm like, yeah, that's not what you want.
yeah, they
that's
go
midway in the
from
series.
they do Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and they split it up, Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, and then they have like all the other side ones on top of that. So there's a lot of different ones.
Yeah, so I mean, it has to be so confusing for people. But like with this issue, this starts off with God. What the hell is that Zeo? Not Zeo. The other Ranger's name from Time Force.
Time Force, Jen Scott.
Yeah, Jen. You have both Pink Rangers, Jen and Kimberly, flying in the pterodactyl thing.
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah. And they're going to is that base that they're going to? That's the one that I think Grace was building, but in this future, it is now exists and is a real thing, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, in this dimension, Promethea becomes Terra Venture, which is the Lost Galaxy world.
Okay, that makes sense. I was a little confused. And then they're going here to go meet some ranger that apparently was evil, but then became good.
So
I figure
that's
you might know who this is.
yeah. So In Space was before Lost Galaxy. In Space, the main villain was Astronema, who was the sister Andros, the Red Ranger.
Okay.
And as you see here, she joins the good side because they're brother and sister, but Andros was looking for her practically almost his entire life after their planet was attacked by some other alien faction or something like that, and he was on the search for her. He never wanted to give up to finding her, and they didn't know. I don't think they knew they were siblings until much later on.
Okay. It was odd. Well, I mean, this is Power Ranger stuff that I have no knowledge of or in like little interest.
Yeah.
Some interest, not a lot right now. Well, not enough to watch the show. I'll read the
That's a lot of dedication to watch the show just to figure out these couple characters. Yeah,
and the show is tough. It's a tough show. But you see them, so they rescue her, and they have a bunch of other different random Rangers on the Zord. Then it cuts to, I think it's the planet with that one doctor who can neutralize the Dragon cannons because Lord Drakkon is trying to take her out. And then you see more Rangers fighting Rangers because everyone's kind of uniting since the end of the last art or the last part of Shadow Grid that we read. Everyone kind of started uniting.
When you got Jason with the dragon shield on, which is always a great look.
I know you like it. So you see 3 Rangers on a hill. Are those VR troopers? They look almost like VR troopers.
They are not VR. There's no VR troopers in this. That's Power Rangers Prime.
You'll see okay. I have the VR.
Yeah. And this, you get RPM. These are RPM Rangers or whatnot.
Too many damn Rangers.
Yeah. This is if I'm right here, Joe. That's Disney era, correct?
RPM, I think so.
And then it cuts to stuff that I actually care about, and kind of a touching scene right here. Like this is cutting back and forth, but you'd see in the Coinless world where Zach from the Coinless world and the Zach that we know are partnering up with Trini and Billy and the other Trini to go and try to infiltrate his headquarters and free. Do they know what they're trying to free yet? I don't know if they know Ninjor is there or what they're doing, but they do. And they're going in there because they have a double agent on the inside. But I do like how they put bandages over Zach's nose and his eyes so you know which one is which.
Right.
I appreciate that. And then it cuts back and forth to Lord Drakkon beating up more Rangers and getting another power, and his suit does look cool. I do like the suit with the way it looks here.
It's not bad. What's crazy is I feel like he's in this version of the suit almost longer than any other, and throughout the comic, and they don't have toy release of it. Like I got version 1 and version 3 of the suits in action figure form, but not 2.
I'm surprised that we didn't get. They didn't do it with how I'm assuming this was popular.
Hella popular.
I mean, you don't need to release a large amount. Just do like a limited thing. People would buy it.
Showing the reveal of Drakon, especially having JDF do that little live action commercial for it, that was a big resurgence in interest in Power Rangers at that time. So for them to not capitalize and do this, like every version of this suit, of this Ranger, I don't understand.
Well, Hasbro is stupid sometimes. So
yeah, they're dumb.
When it comes to Power Ranger as well. The Marvel figures too. When they're like, we're going to take out the plastic because we want to be friendlier to the environment. Which is great, but I don't think that was the reason. So
I really love not being able to see my figures through the box. That really makes me happy inside.
It's also perfect if someone wants to buy the figure and then return it to the store with a different figure. You'll never know. That happens in my toy group, by the way. It's happened to guys where they went and bought a figure, went and opened it up, went, this is not the figure I was looking for.
That happened. Well, I used to see that all the time when I collected wrestling figures. I'd go in there, see what Target has, and then next thing I know, it's like a He-Man figure in there, and I'm like, what the fuck? How are they getting away with this? Like, it bothered the hell out of me.
Apparently, it's been going on with Legos recently too.
That's so sad.
Yeah, I've been seeing. I think someone posted somewhere is where it's like, oh yeah, Target's been having that real big issue where they won't take, I think, any Legos back whatsoever because they've been having issues where they get returned and then someone else buys it and they come back and they're like, yeah, this was filled with like fucking pasta or rice or some shit.
Yeah, it's a thing with toys that people do because people aren't trained. I mean, Legos. I mean, pasta or something like that. That's just you should open the box. But I mean, they make it look sealed. I get it. When it comes to, like, figures, people aren't always going to know what figures are what because they're not trained or they care. You know, I mean, I remember with electronics, in Target, they used to make me come up and check electronics for returns. And I'll never forget at Best Buy when I returned something for like $200. It just didn't work for what I needed it for, and I had dropped a piece of duct tape on it. Just a little bit of tape on the top of the vent, and the guy was like, "Oh, what's this?" and just didn't want to take it back. Fucking Best Buy. You know, actually, one of the last time I ever shopped at Best Buy too.
Not much of a reason anymore.
No, not unless I want to buy a washing machine.
Right.
But when I buy a washing machine, it'll be through my warranty, and I just pick the one that's the same cost, and they just bring it to me.
I think the funnier thing that also have happened too. I can't remember what it was though. Oh no, I remember what it was. I mean they've always done this. I was a kid and I didn't know it, but I bought Kid Icarus from Best Buy. I took it home and I could not play it, and I tried to return it from Best Buy, and they're like, "We don't take open games." I'm like, "I physically cannot play this." And they're like, "Doesn't matter. You opened it, you can't return it." And I'm like, "Oh, that's fucking stupid." And as an adult, I know why, but like even now, I'm still like, dude, that kind of fucking sucks.
Well, GameStop would take it from you. They'll just give you a quarter of the value, if that.
If that, yeah.
I think GameStop has a rule where even if you open it, if you return in 24 hours, I think they'll still take it. I don't know if that's
Must
still
change that policy
I
then.
don't think that's true. They also, if you have a new game in front of them, they won't take a sealed game, and if you open it in front of them, they can't take it either. You have to come back another time. I found that out when I had bought 2 copies of Disney Infinity 2.0, so I was just trying to get a base, and I'm like, I don't need this, so I'll just sell it to you guys. They're like, I can't take it. I'm like, why? It's sealed. So I open it, like, yeah, I can't take it, you just open it. I'm like, okay. He's like, come back another day. I'm like, it's not stolen. I get it. But also in a shitty part of town a bit, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah. All right, so back to Power Rangers. When they do infiltrate the headquarters, this is where you see that Skull we see earlier as one of the Red Royal Guards had actually betrayed them. Had betrayed Lord Drakkon, and this is when they find Ninjor with the slave crown on, and then that slave crown makes me think of Final Fantasy VI every time I see it.
Well, yep.
I do like that. It is cool how important Ninjor is in here.
Yeah, he plays a pretty big role. His contribution to who and what the Rangers are, and a connection sort of to the Morphin grid is a really cool thing that they dug deep on. Wait till you see the connection with all that when it comes to the Phantom Ranger later on, who was in space.
I do look forward to more. I really, really do. So then they get attacked because they get caught. Finster, I think, realizes that they're spies and they rescue Ninjor, but the Zack from the Coinless World gets shot and captured. So as they escape, he's left behind to be tortured or killed. I'm assuming killed.
Yeah, I think he died from that shot.
No,
okay.
He's in a chair later, I think.
I think that too, yeah.
Yeah, I think we see him in a chair whenever, spoiler, but we see them snap Skull's neck. I think we see him in a chair tied up.
Okay, maybe you read this more recently than I have.
I read this after we finished the last episode because I couldn't wait, and then I skimmed it really high last night. So
I read it all right when we got the Shattered Grid, like 6 weeks ago, and then I reread this whole thing. I read this half this week.
It's taking everything in my power not to read the whole series. I want both of you to know that.
I know, me too. Well, hey, it'll be back to 2 weeks, so it won't be so bad. And this was a little bit longer because life, and this is a fucking massive ass thing. But the issue ends, so they get back, the Coinless World, they get back with Ninjor, so they bring him back to the base. Then the other people warp out, and Drakon had took over the city he was trying to get. And then it just says, to be continued, and he's like, soon, because he's trying to get inside the Morphin grid is what's happening. That's
his whole goal.
And then that brings us to Go Power Rangers issue 11. This is a badass cover.
This is a badass cover. I have never needed so many fucking prints of covers in my entire fucking life, and I blame you guys for it.
Oh, that reminds me of when you sent us the covers of Shattered Grid, and there's a one with Drakon in the background holding the blue helmet. I changed that to my background on my phone, and when I saw my son, he's like, you changed it. Because I had the Power Ranger Turtle one for like a year. So he was all like, why is it different? I'm like, because.
Really cool. Don't worry about it.
Something's cool happening, son. That's all you gotta know.
It was just funny though. But I like this cover. You have the Ranger Slayer standing in one side of like a puddle, and then on like the shadow of the puddle, her reflection of the shadow is Kimberly in the Pink Ranger outfit. Like it's fucking cool. And Go-Go is so good because like you don't need to be reading Shattered Grid to understand what's going on in Go-Go either. Like it's kind of its own thing. I mean, it helps, but you could read this without.
I can see that.
The first part of this is back in the future of the Colonialist, or one point in the Colonialist world when you have future Rebel Kim and she ends up running into Matthew.
It's the path of the future Rebel Kim.
Yes.
Yeah, this is super future Rebel Kim, not regular future Rebel Kim.
This is also before she confronts Lord Drakkon, which then brings her back to the Go-Go. So yeah, it's a weird thing.
You're time skipping a bit.
But I do like how she runs into Matthew and he's missing a hand.
He's fucked up.
Fucked up enough to die right now.
He does die. They have to leave him there, and he dies.
Yeah.
And that's what leads her to wanting to go kill Drakon, is because Matthew died.
You know, if I went back in time and told myself, hey, one day you're going to get really emotional over a Power Rangers comic, I'd be like, nah, you're goofy. It's a really good fucking comic.
It really is.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough point. I mean, like all the regret and everything that the future Kim carries over Matthew, as we see throughout this comic unfold, is fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah, I was surprised how and then this is where she says, I'm going to go kill, so you can kill Drake, and then it cuts back to present day where Kimberly's fighting Kimberly, and all the rest of the Rangers are in their Zords fighting that Megazord thing. I forgot what it's called.
Grave Zord.
She controls remotely. I think it's so fucking cool.
Yeah, it has all those different parts of former Zords all connected.
It's very, very cool.
It's a sweet look. And she also sees Matthew.
Yeah. Oh, there's a really good part with Matthew coming up shortly. I don't know if it's this issue or the next, but there's
a little ironic here when you see the Grave Zord stab Tyrannosaurus Zord. That's the Red Ranger Zord stabbing the Red Ranger.
Oh,
yeah. Also,
that's Jason's future Zord that he doesn't even know exists.
We haven't even got it in the other comics that we're on, so because they're still in their regular Zord, they haven't switched it.
They won't switch it in the comics, but in the show, that's his second Zord.
Okay. Oh, they don't go to them in the comics?
Not the Thunder Zords, no.
Oh, okay. I figured they might have.
Jason's Zord might switch later on, but it's not going to be a Zordy thing.
Oh, okay. So, and because Kim had realized that it was all a trap, and she went back to the headquarters where Zordon is, and she's fighting herself. And this is when she electrocutes her future self, which is then breaks the bow, which breaks the spell. That's a traumatizing moment when she first is like when you see her just future Kimberly just on the ground, be like, I'm free.
Seems a lot different than what Jason had gone through. Tommy.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, there you go. Jason David Frank. Yeah.
Yeah, just different. But yeah, it seems different from what Tommy went through, because Tommy was kind of just like, I don't think it wasn't him like being, it was him kind of becoming progressively evil, and then him finally like snapping out of it. From the way Future Kim describes it, it's like watching yourself in your own body like do evil shit.
Yeah, you're to quote a very random book, it's like an Animorph. When there's a yerk inside your ear, you have to do what the yerk says, even if you don't agree with it, because you have no control. You're just a spectator.
Fucking Animorphs, is that still a thing?
No, that book series is long been over with. But
that book series is long been over with. But read it, because the author is pro-trans and pro-gay community, and she says very frequently that J.K. Rowling can go eat ass.
She's all right in my book. Just for that. That's for that. And those books are actually pretty good from what I remember, but I'll never read them again.
I heard those books are surprisingly good.
So what series in biohazard bags in my parents' house.
Yeah, like everything else in that goddamn house. What was wild as shit is like I remember the remote being in a biohazard bag for the TV, and it was still dingy and nasty as shit. Because I didn't understand why it was in the biohazard bag.
I don't know either. He got them for free. So we had biohazard bags all over everywhere. It's things that I thought were normal that I wait, this is not normal.
Absolutely not. No. I remember I took the remote out of the biohazard bag like on reflex. I didn't even think about it. Like just mindlessly took it out. And Eric was like, "What are you doing?" And then I felt it. I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Should it be in here? I don't." Is it because it's nasty already and now we can use it normally? I don't understand.
Nothing can be replaced in that house. You know that. Like, if let's say here you have a son that's 17 and breaks a couch, you have to keep it, even though now your son is 37. The couch is still broken, but you have to keep it.
Mhm.
That's how things work in that house.
Those 1940 speakers that he's so proud of.
So,
He loves so much.
so
But
there's
anyway,
a cool scene here with the
I was gonna
T-Rex.
say,
Oh, yes.
before we move on. So the part where Kim snaps out of it, I don't think we know before this that she's actually under a
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
spell. So this is the first indication we get of that.
I assumed, and I assumed right.
I mean, yeah, I didn't know either. Like until this. I mean, you can make that good assumption because if you look at the bow is the sword that made the Green Ranger Tommy be under a spell. So
I
clues are there.
I highly suggest as we go through this that you guys grab onto almost everything that you can when it comes to Shattered Grid because we're gonna feel the effects of this storyline throughout the entire series. Just a heads up.
I figured. Considering the next 2 volumes of Mighty Morphin are beyond the grid, I figured that this isn't going away.
Yeah, you're gonna see characters that you would not anticipate. They're still fucking around.
I look forward to it.
And you know what? I didn't catch it earlier. Rereading it a third time, I'm catching it now. I think it's funny that they're like, "Oh man, do you think this is actually what's going on?" I forgot they haven't met fucking Tommy yet, so they didn't know if it would actually work.
They don't know who Tommy is yet.
Yeah.
For what part? What are you talking about?
Well, when they break her bow, she's like, "Oh my god, I've been under control." And they're like, "Are you buying this?" And they're like, "I don't know. It seems pretty genuine." I'm like, they should know it worked. And I thought about, I was like, "Oh no, wait.
Oh yeah.
They don't have a Green Ranger yet."
Yeah.
Yep. They don't even know who Tommy is yet. Matthew's in that spot.
It's a good scene. And there's a small thing where you see the T-Rex bleeding from where he was stabbed. That is cool. The purple goo coming out of the Zord.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Ivan Ooze.
Oh, God. Then it cuts to Rita and I talking about, because she's watching the chaos that's happening down there a little bit. But on the table, you see a bunch of different monsters that Finster is making. And I know 3 of those way too good. The eye monster, the Finks that I really, really like, and that's fucking pig.
That fucking pig.
I hate the pig.
Pig sucks. He was in the first episode.
I know.
I remember seeing him in the commercial. I was like, man, this show looks so cool. Pig sucks. Everything else looks cool.
Hate the damn.
Good story.
And you have this is the part where Kimberly is talking to Kimberly, and it was what you said, where they don't really believe her, they think it's an act. And it's a good scene. It's really good to see what she's going through, and there's just nothing but good stuff with her. Like with her at the juice bar with Kim and the other Kimberly's all happy to see Bulk and stuff, and like playing games with them. But also, I mean, it's really just about like someone who went through something so traumatic, and was mind warped all this time and had no control, and then now to finally be able to be free, like, and also in a world that isn't ruined and terrible because they lived in an apocalypse. Like, this is a really cute moment with them together.
This is something that future Kim reminisces about and wishes she could have back. I mean, she even talks about it, I'm pretty sure, as we go on. It's just she misses it all, and she is the only one that gets to relive it, where all her friends that are still alive will never see this again.
And most of them are I think almost all of them are dead at this point, except for Trini.
Right.
Trini's the only one that makes it out because Zach is still alive, but Zach gets killed in this book, like shortly. Like, none of them make it out, and Kimberly. So
I do want to take a step back here. When Zordon says he's seen mental manipulation like this before, but he also says, I'm not certain how, but its hold on you is broken. I think that's important going forward because, like you guys mentioned, like, they haven't seen this before. They don't know Tommy yet.
yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, why don't they learn, when the Green Ranger's around, like, oh, we just break his goddamn dark sword and we were good. It's because they don't know how it was broken.
Are we fucking up the timeline?
I think they covered their ass with that line, that one line from Zordon, because even though obviously it's never really brought up again that they met this Ranger, her power was the same. Like, her manipulation was tethered to her dark bow and arrow, whereas Tommy's was tied to the dark sword. Once the dark sword was destroyed, he was free of the manipulation.
Okay.
And the Rangers, with the lightning, that strike that happened, that energy strike, and it broke the bow, the Rangers don't know that the bow was connected to her manipulation.
That's fair. So that helps kind of why they have, they don't understand how it works when they're faced with it in the future.
That one line they cover their ass with it.
Did that line have any importance that Zordon's like, I've seen this before?
I'd say not. It makes me wonder, like, if he's seen it before, so that means he's never seen it broken before. Like, I don't, maybe, because he's dealt with Rita for 10,000 years plus, so it's like over 10,000 years. Who knows how many years altogether? But he's seen this manipulation before, but it sounds like he's never had to have it broken before.
Okay, I was just curious that maybe that had some importance. But the part when Future Kim meets Matt again, like young Matt, I think that's really touching too, where she's just, and he's like, you look familiar. Like how he kind of picks up on it.
It's crazy how emotional, like Joe said, made him emotional, made him, I think he said cry. Like Go-Go does have that feel to it, like that emotional tie to it, and it holds its own. So like for them to split up the series the way they did, and they strategically made one so much different than the other, even though they're using majority of the same characters, they did a hell of a job.
Yeah, they really did. I can't believe how good Go-Go is.
And Future Kim hugging Bulk here, and he's like, "What the fuck?" He has no idea why.
Don't they also say like it's her cousin or something? They're like, "Oh yeah, this is Kim's weird cousin that looks
Older
exactly
cousin."
like.
Yeah. Cousins don't mean they're gonna look just like you. Sisters, sure, but
Oh no,
I got a cousin that looks a lot like me. I don't understand it, but yeah.
I have a cousin I have a cousin that I refer to as my sister because we look alike and we also grew up together. But people are like, "Oh, you guys must be siblings," and we just roll with it. So
That's literally what happens with me. And she's probably a couple years younger than me, and people are like, "Are you guys brother and sister?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is my twin."
I like it when she goes out in the alley and then she starts talking to Lord Drakkon, but because she's trying to impersonate that she's still under the spell, but she makes a mistake because she questions him. He's like, "You never questioned me before."
She didn't have the ability before, yeah.
Yeah. And the Finster is like, "Where is your bow?" Even though you see her messing with the bow earlier, but I guess she didn't keep it.
I think she's still preparing it too.
Okay. But I do like that, where she's like, "I'm going to fucking kill you." And then she does play a huge part in this that you don't realize how important it is, but she goes back to the headquarters and she's tinkering with something. I think, she's trying to find Tommy, and Billy walks in on her. So she zaps Tommy, which then they think that she's going to betray them, and that's what the comic is supposed to make you think, because it ends here.
You mean zaps Billy?
Yeah. And then she leaves, and then the end of this issue is two monsters show up.
really,
She zaps the shit out of him too. Look at Billy's face.
Mm-hmm. Fucks him up.
out of him.
It's like he didn't kill his ass.
And that brings us back to Mighty Morphin number 29. Mighty Morphin Power Ranger number 29.
Also a good cover.
Cuts back a lot. Yeah, this is a cool cover too. It's just all the Rangers and the Jewish college in the background. Yeah.
Right.
I showed Tiff that I said if we ever go to California, I'm like, I'm going there. I'm getting my picture because I just want to know.
Next one?
Hmm?
What was the next one?
Mighty Morphin 29 Power Rangers.
Usually have them all in one spot.
That would be nice. Or it'll be easier the next things we do until we get the necessary evil and we have to jump around again.
Okay.
It's a little bit before that event. It'll be a couple months for us in real time.
Yeah, this cover's
To get
pretty
there.
damn cool. I'm pretty sure you don't know who 90% of those Rangers are.
Yep, you are correct. I know who 6 are. Sort of. Really only 5, or 4. Yeah, 5. Yeah, I don't really know who any of these people are.
It's really funny that you guys talk about not recognizing Rangers. I don't know if it's like a mistranslation. So weird tangent, but because I thought about it because we're reading this. The new Super Sentai coming out is supposed to be a battle royale Super Sentai. I think it's a red, blue, and yellow Power Ranger or Sentai Ranger. And apparently the synopsis is they're competing to become the best Ranger ever. And because it's the 50th anniversary of Super Sentai, they are competing against older Rangers to become the best Ranger.
Are they going to play the song?
That sounds kind of interesting.
Who wants to live forever? In the background, while they compete to only be one. Okay, but nothing to my joke. I watched one show a lot when I was younger, Highlander, and that's what you're making me think of, was with Highlander, how there can be only one.
I keep forgetting to make a Highlander TV show. Every time you bring it up, I keep remembering.
All I think is, Princess of the Universe. A badass intro, man.
That's a good ass show from what I remember. I watched it, it's been years, but I want to watch it again, but I haven't. I got to meet that actor too. It was really nice. But so this issue starts off with, I think are those the Rangers in space that are in purple jail cells?
Hold on, let it load. Yes, those are.
Okay, why does he have Rangers in jail cells? Why don't you just kill them? No, I was just wondering.
Yeah, I don't really know that either. I guess.
No, it's fine. But you have all the Rangers now are at a base, but they're in a pocket dimension to escape from Tommy, so he can't find them. Or Lord Drakkon can't find them. And why they're in this pocket dimension and they're kind of coming up with a plan. You also have Grace there. Because Grace is now with the team, or she came with the team recently. And then a Ranger, is that from Time Force, the guy that drops off in the Red Ranger suit?
No, that is
the Saiyan pod?
Space also.
Okay. Why is he in a Saiyan pod? That's what that looks like.
That was like practically an escape pod from his ship.
That makes more sense. But that's all I could think it was.
Sure as hell looks like a Saiyan pod.
I've also been watching Dragon Ball Z again for some reason.
Actually, Vegeta in that red outfit.
And this is when you see Lord Drakkon.
If you notice, that's Andros coming out of that pod.
Oh.
The Pink Ranger is the Pink Galaxy Ranger, his sister, who notices him.
Okay.
He does not know that is her.
Oh, I see. All right. And then it cuts back to Lord Drakkon. He's upset that they were betrayed by Skull. He breaks Skull's neck right there. Just
yeah.
But I do like where he's like, "You failed me," the guy in charge. So he's like, "Take him down below," and I'm assuming he's getting murdered too. So
quite possible, yeah. But so this guy's killing all these people, but still has the in-space Ranger sitting in a cell. Okay.
So Lord Drakkon seems to be sweating profusely.
Well, he's taking on too much power with all the different Morphin grids, and he's also right now he's upset because it reenacts the scene that we saw in Go-Go, but now we see it from his point of view when he's talking to the Ranger Slayer, and he gets upset, and this is when he starts to break down. And again, this also kind of fits a little bit more of my thing that Finster is not just his friend; they're lovers. The way Finster gets upset,
especially when you see the shit later on, dude. Like,
oh god, yeah, when he's
yeah,
100%. And this is when Andros meets his sister again, and they're hugging, and you have a few.
I don't know why I thought that was Tommy. Like, I
looks like Tommy.
Don't remember In Space very well.
I think it's just the way they drew it. Like the Time Force Pink Ranger Jen looks just like Kimberly. It has something to do with the way they just drew it.
Yeah, I mean Andros too. They didn't emphasize the highlights in his hair enough because it looks like it's just like different shades of brown. But in the show, it's a lot more noticeable with the highlights in his hair.
Mm.
Yeah, it's easier here, but there's a lot of parts like when we were reading that annual where it's like, God, I kept thinking it's Tommy. I knew it wasn't, but it looks so much like him. Is this when the dog face guy and Zordon decide they have to come up with a terrible idea that works? I think, or is that okay? So they come up with their terrible idea. You also have where Jason is talking with Grace, but he doesn't trust her anymore, which he shouldn't. And then I think this is when she talks about how that colony that they had is going to become that space thing that he's used. Is that what he's using to hold all the Rangers in the tower, or that's where they have to go? I can't remember.
So it's revealed that is the space team's colony. So basically implies that Grace built their ship. She
built the prototype practically for it.
Okay, that's what it was.
Because time travel.
Yeah,
and that's Andros that I sent in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, okay. I can tell. If in person, it doesn't look like him, but
no, it's just the way they drew it.
Yeah,
and the hair. So then you have look like meteors falling, but it's all these different Rangers coming to join them, and you have a picture of 30 different Rangers. I recognize one.
Yeah,
isn't the black Zeo Ranger the guy with the gold armor right in the second row? Isn't that Jason?
That's the bit. Well, I'll say this because I thought the same thing. In Zeo, it was actually 3 people in one suit initially. Trey of Triforia, they were like triplets that can fuse together and be in the suit. They're from a different world. Those powers were transferred off to Jason, and Jason took over the suit. So I was like, well, is it fucking Trey? Is it Jason? Like, who is it? And the more I thought about it, I want to say it's Jason, just because we saw the world where Drakon found the Zeo Rangers, killed that Tommy, and no matter you see the whole Zeo team practically here. You do not see Tommy here, and Jason was the Gold Ranger during that time. So I would say that is Jason.
Okay. And in the top left, you see one of Joe's favorite Rangers from Texas.
Yeah, look at that. It's
the cowboy guy is in there.
It's weird how this is mostly compromised of 6 Rangers, but
yeah. I will bring up also behind the Zeo Rangers, directly behind, you'll see the Hyperforce Rangers over to the middle and right.
Okay, the green, blue, and red helmet.
So yeah, the red, green, blue, pink, black, and yellow behind the Zeo Rangers on the right side. Those are
Oh,
all
I see.
hybrid force. So they made those YouTube characters canon with this.
Okay. So then they join them, and then the last part of this is you see Zordon and Dogface Man go to Rita to ask for her help.
That would be Anubis.
Dogface Man. Yes, that is his name.
This is kind of crazy because anytime because he's not the only one of his race, and we'll see another one of his race later on in the comics. They all have that like brownish tan kind of way of like speech bubbles. This is a little weird, but the way that I hear the voice in my head is like the dog from Star Fox.
Yeah.
If you guys remember how that sounds, that's how I hear his voice in my head when I read it.
No, I want to go look that up.
But anyway, for them to execute their plan here, which is a big shocker, enemy of my enemy is my friend, and you see them going down this corridor, and if you look close enough, you can tell it's a putty. But I like how they shadowed them to kind of hide it a bit so you don't catch on right away.
Yeah, it's well done. And then this brings us to Go-Go Power Rangers number 12. Too much jumping around. This is another cool issue. You have Rebel Kim, and then you have Lord Drakkon's helmet and stuff in the background. I like this issue. And this shows her so first it starts off with showing what Rebel Kim did, where she infiltrated where Lord Drakkon was, tried to kill him, and then he put her under the spell that Rita used.
Mm-hmm.
She's about to murder him, and then it shows you how she becomes the Ranger Slayer. And then it cuts back to what makes Go-Go so good is that you see so much of them as humans and not Power Rangers, and where you have a scene where Jason is talking to his dad and his mother and getting his dad to open up about what he's going through. So well done.
Oh yeah, the cancer.
This is what makes Go-Go so like. I had no interest in Go-Go when we first read. I'm like, I don't want to read these. These look stupid. And I'm like, damn, these are good.
Is it good?
And it's some of the best content in the entire series.
I didn't think it would work, but it does. And this is where Kimberly confronts future Kimberly, and she teleports away. Billy gets up because he was shocked in the last issue into their Zords and Megazord, and they're fighting these two different monsters. Metal Man, I think, or thing with hammers for some reason. So, but the scene that matters in here is that Kimberly goes back to where the Grave Zord is, and future Kimberly, and she runs into Matthew, and Matthew recognizes her from earlier, and then this is when she tells him, you don't get to see it, but she even says, not telling you the truth is one of my greatest regrets in my life, and then she pretty much tells him, which is what's going to play a part later, I'm assuming a lot in this run.
Fuck ton, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're getting their ass beat, the Megazord is, and then she has the Grave Zord come, but then the Grave Zord fuses with the Megazord, so we get Mega Grave Zord. Where's the toy of that?
Once again, Mike beat me to it. Where is the goddamn toy of that? Because holy shit, that is a look.
Yeah, no shit. You guys can see into my mind because I would have this toy displayed already on my shelf.
I get it, but the amount of toys they made for Power Rangers, like, why not do like what Hasbro does at points where they make a design, if they don't sell enough, they don't sell it. There are people, only need like 400 backers. I'm sure they could find 400, 500 people that would buy this.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, they did it with Galactus, they did it with the Sentinel, they did it with the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels. I mean, like, I know this is more of a niche than any of the things I just mentioned, but still, like, there's enough people out there that if you advertise this, people will buy it.
What is it called? Who makes their toys now? Or did?
Power Rangers was made by Hasbro lastly.
Hasbro's been shit in the bed for like ever.
Probably I think they changed CEOs, and I think that was part of the problem. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and it goes into like I keep mentioning it mainly because we switched through episodes, so I have to explain it all the time. But yeah, like I don't understand how they can hate it because like Rich has said, like they did the whole like what was it, Rich? The Omega Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sold out instantly. The Tommy's new Legacy Morpher sold out instantly. Like all the Power Rangers stuff when they announced it sold out instantly, and they're just like, we don't think Power Rangers doing very well. And it's like, you guys fucking suck.
Yeah,
agreed. I don't understand it.
Oh, give me one thing I think call, but keep going.
Yep. So, and then we got future Kim, seeing Tommy from Go-Go.
Mm-hmm.
Kim's making her rounds. She's like the fucking ghost of Christmas past here. Or Christmas future at this point.
Also, is it unterminating things where like you don't have a Terminator? She's fucking with time, which is like in a good way.
Yeah, she's taking a huge fucking risk doing this stuff, but it worked out.
It does work out, but we go back to that sweet Mega Gravezord design, fighting what is essentially two terrifying kaiju.
You guys did mention the key point, right? Of what Kimberly's doing.
Have not yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry, keep going. I'll let Joe. You take over.
Okay. Yeah, but I like them fighting with like it summons their weapons too. I think the greatsword summons their weapons and just whoops both those things asses.
It's
The
fucking
Grave
awesome.
Sword is fucking deadly. Like, I mean, those claws that it has, those Wolverine claws or whatnot, they're a nice touch.
I really like it.
But we end Kimberly's. I guess she's losing her powers. I want to be sure what that looks like.
No, she's not losing her powers.
She's like whenever she's on the ground, it's like she looks weird. But then
I think that's just because she created a time paradox, or I think it's also no. I mean, I'm joking. I think it's really from what is going on with the grid. I think it's just fucking with her what Drakon is doing, because this is right before Drakon brings everything all shit to the world, to their world, and it's affecting all time. But right before this, you see what Kimberly was really up to, where she goes to find Tommy, the Tommy of this world that is going to be the Tommy later, and she shoots him with the is it with the green? No, she shoots him with a green arrow.
Yes, magic green arrow.
Yes, and then it goes inside of him, and then he's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And then after that, she teleport into an alley, and that's when Grace finds her.
Which Grace is this? I'm actually no, I don't know what it is. I forgot.
This is the Grace, but this is the Grace before she's met the Power Rangers and Mighty Morphins, and this is like 2 years before, like a year or two before Mighty Morphin happens, or something like that.
You gotta mentally prepare me for time travel. I can tell you Kingdom Hearts' timeline back like the back of my goddamn hand. Power Rangers reading currently. I don't fucking know where we're at sometimes. Are we in the past? Are we in the future? I'm not 100%.
We're in the past.
But this is the past, yeah.
Yes. But Go-Go starts, I think, a year or 2 years before Mighty Morphin started, where they have the Green Ranger. And then as we are reading, it eventually, I'm assuming it catches up to where Mighty Morphin started when we get to the end of Go-Go at 30 Some Issues.
Rich.
All right, I'm sorry. I had a little intermission here. What did I miss?
I think that's what it is.
Does Go-Go lead into Mighty Morphin?
These stories eventually converge, yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's why they keep showing because they're painting the picture of how long the time span was to when the Green Ranger shows up. So it's just a real weird timey-wimey thing, and with Shattered Grid, everything is kind of intersecting, but also time has no meaning because all the worlds are splitting apart because of the fucker Lord Drakkon. So it really gets strange. But the last like couple pages of this is when Matthew goes to the Rangers in human form to confront them, his friends, and they won't tell who he is, and he's like, "I'm done," and he just walks away because they won't tell him. It's kind of sad. He already knows. So
he knows, but he asked them, and they don't give him an answer. So I mean, I don't blame him either. Honestly, it is pretty fucked. But at the end of the day, he's like, "It's the last chance y'all got for me. Either tell me or I'll bye."
It explains his absence later on when Mighty Morphin comes around and the show comes around. Why he's never mentioned, never talked about. This is why.
Yeah, they had to do something like that. So right, and then that we jump back to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 30. Oh, this is annoying having to do that. Now, this is a cover that I want a poster. So it's Lord Drakkon sitting in a broken throne with Power Ranger helmets from all the different Rangers all over the place, and he has his foot on top of the green one.
Yep, I've had this as a background before.
So I keep saying, and I mention this every time, I apologize, both of you, and I always go, man, that Lord Drakkon suit can't get any cooler. That Lord Drakkon suit got eventually cooler. This is such a fucking badass fucking design.
Goddamn right it is, and that's why they made like the most complex figure they made of a Ranger from the Lightning Collection has to be that version 3 of Drakon.
And it makes sense because he's also the Black Ranger in Dino Force.
This is true too.
I don't know if that's what they were going with, but it's a good look.
It really is. So this is where you have the issue starts off with where it ended, where Dogface and Zordon are talking with Rita, telling her how they need her help. There's also a reference to or is that a little bit later? At some point, there's a reference to that evil guy or something where she was making a deal with, and I remember Rich made a comment like, "Yep, he's from the show." I can't remember his name now, but it was really stupid.
Master of Deception or Wizard of Deception,
that guy.
or something like that.
Yeah, there's something she does, and that comes up a little bit later. But so I was a little confused. I guess you see here Drakon melts down the white saber sword for some reason.
I don't understand that either. I think he makes it longer. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'd have to read probably all the words to get it again, but I don't remember why I did it.
I don't think it says.
you see him using it later, and it's like as long as Sephiroth's sword. It doesn't.
Oh,
yeah.
But also when he melts it down, you see faces in the metal, in the molten,
I think it's his
which
face.
is not accidental. Then you have a small scene of all the Rangers getting ready for the final attack. It doesn't mean anything to me. There's some guy talking about it. Some Yellow Ranger talking to another Yellow Ranger that has a hammer, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yep. So the Yellow Ranger on the left is from Hyperforce.
Okay.
That is the character that Bulk plays on the show.
Oh.
Just as a heads up, it's kind of weird how that all wraps around. That Bulk kind of becomes a Ranger, but it's not technically Bulk. I forget the guy's actual name, the character's name, but the Bulk plays him on the show.
Oh, okay, but it's not. All right. And you see Trini from the Coinless World getting in the Black Dragon armor. You just have some cool scenes, and Jason taking the lead, getting ready to, they're going to go attack the base. And this is when he gives the Green Dagger sword, or Green Dagger, to Kimberly, and then she gets the power armor for a second.
I will say, so obviously being a Red Ranger, Jason Mark, like this, the way they portray him in here as a true leader, leading all these practically generations of Rangers to a war, and giving him one of his most shining moments in the entire series out of anyone in the series. That was a good feeling for me seeing this here. And I did want to touch upon something that we haven't really talked about, and that's the hinted relationship or feelings towards Jason and Lauren, the Samurai Red Ranger.
Oh.
If you guys didn't know that, pay attention to that. You'll see a couple moments coming forward. It's already happened once or twice throughout this read. It's going to happen again before this is over, that they hint of what they feel towards each other.
Okay, I didn't expect that, but I also didn't care. But all right.
So I don't know. I don't know what it is with their obsession with the Red Samurai Ranger for them to give her such a prominent role now, and then in Power Rangers Prime, she is a main character. You don't see, as far as there's only 2 comics out, but you don't see the original Rangers team in Prime at all. They're not even mentioned as far as I remember. But Lauren is one of the main characters.
Huh, okay. It could be that the writer just happened to like her a lot too.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. I mean, could have been one of his favorite Ranger teams. He's like, we're including her.
Very possible.
So right, and then so they all go off to battle. So they go to the tower to go fight Lord Drakkon's force, and at the same time, Rita takes Zordon and Dogman to the throne, and they do the green candle thing.
I do want to throw this in there.
Yes.
This is also the first time, and I want to say only time, we see the Pink Ranger with the dragon shield on, and the symbolism with that. Not only Jason handing over the dragon dagger, but her wearing that shield means so much, considering that Tommy was, at the time her boyfriend, and she watched him die, and then she gets to use his powers near the end.
Also, we missed it a little bit earlier. One thing that we don't really see a lot in this, but we see it does happen in the show because the show is always gimmicky. All of Red Rangers basically put on their super hyper form stuff that they have. So like you see a little bit in the beginning, but you see it through the big fight here. So like the Samurai Rangers wearing the white cloak, the Time Force Rangers wearing the Time Force armor, and there's another Red Ranger wearing his big like battle armor. It's the gimmicky stuff from the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, who calls for it? I can't see who that is that calls for it, but she says anybody who's got a battleizer mode, activate it now. Is that Lauren? Probably Lauren.
Hey, also that Pink Ranger book we read kind of makes sense now because I knew who that big giant green dragon was thanks to that book. And for the record, I'd have been really confused had we not read that book.
Mm-hmm.
So it paid off a little bit.
Yeah, but here too, you kind of see what I'm talking about. I guess he makes the sword bigger. I'm not entirely
Yeah, he does.
sure.
It's like an extend now, and he can slice people farther and stuff.
Yeah, like you said, Sephiroth size sword.
Yeah, I guess that's the idea. And then, but you also see him like whipping it at people, so I guess he can just kind of change its shape however he wants to.
Yeah.
Well, this guy's practically a god at this point. So.
Oh, he's gonna be a god very soon.
Yeah.
Speaking of him being a god, well, we're not that far off from that.
Ray turns into Clark Kent Power Ranger.
We're not there yet. I have several things to say about that, but
soon
we do see, which I think is an interesting call. So they're all making fun of Lord Drakkon being on his throne, and we see them be magically defeated by Robo Finster, with fucking Lord Drakkon's scepter.
Lord Zed's.
Not Lord Drakkon, yeah, Lord Zed's fucking scepter, and it's like, goddamn, that's a weird item they pull out of their fucking ass.
Oh, I did not realize that was Lord Zed's item. Okay,
Yeah.
I see it now, but I didn't pay attention enough. But Oh, the green candle made me smile because I know it from the show. One of the few things I actually do know from this comic. So I was like, okay, that is cool. Oh, and then here's the part that really like with Finster. So they zap Rita, Zordon, Dogman, or Ninja and Dogman, Zordon's a face. And then when they do that, Finster's like, I care about you, and then he breaks his neck. And the way that I took this is Finster was his weakness because Finster was his boyfriend. So he got rid of his weakness. That's how I take it.
I guess.
I'm going to stand by that. But
I'll
there's
let
not a
you
whole
bet.
lot in it. And then Lord Drakkon finally gets to wherever his little setup was. He presses a button and pretty much becomes goes into the morphing grid. I think that's what it is at this point.
I guess this is his setup from the beginning. I guess that's why he looks like that now. It's just a bunch of, which is honestly funny. You think a bad guy professional would have a better bad guy setup, but it's just a bunch of morphers fucking floating around on the ground and shit, just kind of jury rigged into some kind of bullshit ass machine.
This looks like a kid's messy room.
It does.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it.
And
I
then
really
we end with the big to be concluded.
Uh-huh. And then that brings us to our final issue we're going to talk about in this long-ass episode. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Shattered Grid #1.
Is there a number 2 or is it
No,
only number
just
1?
this one issue.
Okay.
That's it.
It was just how can we make you buy another comic? That's what this is called. They like to do that in comic books a lot. This cover's okay. It has the 5 Rangers in the back and then Lord Drakon's helmet breaking through glass. It's okay. Not my favorite.
Some great art, but not,
Yeah.
nothing crazy.
So this issue actually takes place. The first part of this is before he did what we saw him do, and you see more of them fighting on the battlefield, and they're trying to beat that fucking dragon thing, and they morph a bunch of different Zords together into some monster thing, and then make it bigger to fight that dragon creature.
Yeah, they used some last minute schematics from Jen here to slap together some makeshift Zord, Megazord.
Okay, it's still pretty cool. And then did they finally beat the fucking dragon thing? Yeah, they blow up. They hit the tower, but then at the same time, Lord Drakkon comes out in his final form, and then
So we got to pay attention here to Jason practically sacrificing himself, and if you see like the whole
I did not catch
conversation,
that.
yeah, the entire time he's going to kill himself to take this tower down.
Oh,
And listen to the conversation or read the conversation between him and Lauren. Like, she doesn't want him to do that.
Yeah, I think he creates a distraction, and so the dragon will eat him, and then that way they can get the backstab.
okay. Yeah, I read this again this morning, but I did not catch that. What was going on?
And that Serpentera goes out the same way Tommy did in that alley.
Oh,
yeah, because he stabs him in the back. That's cool.
oh yeah. Huh.
And then Lord Drakkon breaks open, and then
He
Jen
said-
realizes what's happening because she says, "Not again."
We essentially see him break what I imagine is the fourth wall.
Practically. I mean, this is the grid is fucked at this point.
The grid is so fucked. Spoilers for later on. We actually see the 3 Rangers come in, or the 3 what are they called?
Emissaries?
Emissaries,
The 3 emissaries go. Oh, we actually need to do something about this.
You start seeing-
shit, they weren't lying. Fuck.
They watch everything start because they're in the space station and they watch everything start to become a bright light. And then, as you kind of made the comment earlier, it is Superman. You see Tommy or Lord Drakkon sitting in a house with his old parents in a little farmhouse.
I want to make a comment here.
Yes.
So when the Grace is taking off in what is currently Promethea, will eventually be Terra Venture, they go beyond the grid in that thing.
Oh.
And this is where that begins.
Oh, okay,
We don't see them again until that storyline.
I did not realize that was happening.
that's crazy.
It's not super obvious.
It's not, no, because you don't know what the hell they're doing with this and where they're going with it, but they are setting up that next storyline.
I'll be reading that tonight.
And that's a wild ride. It's a lot different than what we've been reading up to that point, and a lot more team ups than you would probably ever imagine up to that point.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Did you say that's his parents?
Is it supposed to be his parents, right?
Yeah, his parents. His parents, Zordon and Rita.
I didn't realize it's Zordon and Rita. I thought Zordon was the dog.
It's like Zordon is saying Rita,
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
having her by Rita.
yeah.
And what
So
is that Kruger? Pay attention to the dog's name. Who is Kruger? Do we know who that is?
No.
That's Dogface, Anubis Kruger.
Oh, what the fuck?
And realize he's blue on top of it.
I did see that. Yeah, that's why I thought it was Zordon. And then they do have the Superman moment where he goes outside, rips his shirt open, says it's Morphin time, and you see the crystal.
It's nuts, man.
He is crazy, and honestly, it's fucking hilarious.
It's
This
so
guy's so entirely
weird.
delusional, and I'll touch on that delusional shit later on when he gets confronted one-on-one, how they actually break his character down mentally, and I like how they do it.
I mean, all this is pretty damn cool. Like he's fighting the spirit. Oh, I just put two and two together. He's fighting a spirit tiger and a spirit hawk, like the White Ranger stuff. The Falcon Zord.
The White Falcon Zord, yeah.
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 Okay, I did not put two and two together after only my third time looking at this comic.
And I guess the Power Rangers have been dumbed down to just like Pacific Rim mech people.
Yeah.
Also, I know it is goofy because obviously it's interesting to see them kind of do different stuff here, but it's very funny to basically have it be like, oh, he's basically become Superman. Like you see what I imagine, I assume also is Kim, like I said, being a mech, but they need the mechs, but he takes down these weird spirit things by himself. And
Energy beast, I think they call him. Am I right?
Yeah. And he's flying around interviewing people and things like that. The helmet comes off like Iron Man.
It's damn cool.
Mhm.
And they know who he is too. Like it's just a very cool scene.
He's a public superhero that everyone worships.
And like when he goes back to his mansion, and then like Billy's like the mechanic, and all the Rangers play a little part. I mean, Lauren is the sensei teaching his students. Like, I mean, it's interesting how he took his greatest enemies and made them like his servants. It's kind of cool.
But also sad because you think like they wouldn't all exist here, but they still play like a weird fucked up part in his role. Even fucking Finster is like his Alfred.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm.
And is anybody aware of it?
No, this is his own personal world. This is basically this is what he's been fighting towards, right? Like this is what
His
he's wanted.
reconstructed world, yeah.
And it's just the reflections he sees of the Tommy from the regular world talking to him through reflections of the glass and a camera, because of the arrow and the dagger. Didn't they shoot him with a dagger too earlier? I think
They
last
did.
issue. Okay, right before the green candle shit.
That's how they weakened him with the green candle.
Okay.
They shot him with the dagger, and the green candle was going. But yeah.
Past Tommy is just going, I see you, motherfucker. Don't think I'm gonna let you get away with this. Also,
it's really cool.
What's with the bear? What's the bear from? Is he also?
I don't know. I think it's taken form of Zords during the Ninja Zord time when like when the Falcon Zord was around. We had an ape Zord. We had a bear Zord. So I'm kind of thinking it was
also
around
had a
that
toad.
time.
Don't forget the
We
toad.
did. I'm a frog, the charming prince.
So stupid. I should have been like, we need to sell more toys. But then eventually his power starts to weaken. But he made Kimberly a waitress in this world.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, it's the old Tommy. Okay, and then the real Tom, the past Tommy comes to her, and then he unlocks her, and she starts to remember everything. His funeral, and she remembers who she is, and then all the other Rangers start coming back. Or he went and got all the Rangers back, because that Tommy is starting to come around again. And then this kind of shows more about how that arrow that she shot into him in Go-Go is the reason that he's here, or able to take over in this world. And then I think the emissaries are also helping him, correct? Because you see the 3 emissaries from that free issue that, was very damn important.
Yeah, I want to say they helped intervene in some way here. I mean, they recap it here.
Yeah,
too.
well, he beat them down, and then he took the crystal from a giant frozen-looking Esper. That's what it looks like to me. It's an Esper. Tritok. But they talk about how he destroyed all the worlds.
So it shows the significance of chaos energy and chaos crystals. The reason why they're able to dimension hop, time skip, whatever, it's all through this chaos energy, which it plays a prominent role in this storyline. It is not the last time we will see it, and it plays a decent role in one specific character later on that you might be shocked to see.
And the chaos crystal being that big red crystal.
The green.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So that's what Kimberly used to shoot Go-Go Tommy with, was a piece of the chaos crystal.
Okay.
In order for this to take place.
And then Tommy's back in his green suit, which we haven't seen for a while, which is kind of nice. And then he jumps at Lord Drakkon and touches the crystal, and then they go inside, and they're both humans fighting each other for the crystal, I guess. And
I will mention this. So as they show in the alley when Tommy is dying, and he says it's okay. He knows it's okay because he's thinking back to when he got shot with that arrow.
Oh, okay.
All
See,
right.
that's cool. I love when fucking shit does stuff like this.
So they tied it all together. They did what they were supposed to do.
And that's why whenever they take him back to Zordon, they're like he's like, what? So is Tommy gonna be okay? And Zordon's like, no, he's gone. Like I don't. He's like, I can't explain it, but he's passed. Like he's gone. And is that essentially what that is? Like he's dimension hopping.
Well, he says here, I was everywhere and nowhere.
Yeah.
You were, and I think that has a part to do with it.
I think so. It's very cool.
It's fucking awesome. So is Rich? Does that big red crystal also play an important part?
Only due to Drakon's current power. It's not chaos energy, I don't think at all. They actually explain it as we go here, and that's his weakness. But that's how they end him, is that heart of a master. All right, so we're gonna get a lot deeper in this as we go along. Especially, I want to say we touch a little bit more on this, a lot more on this. I want to say in the next, maybe Beyond the Grid. I want to say with the Morphin Masters. So the Morphin Masters, or you think emissaries have power and they're some type of gods? That's a lower level than what the Morphin Masters are. The Morphin Masters are actually, from what I remember, the creators of the Morphin Grid. So, and he has the heart of a Morphin Master in his chest, giving him this ultimate power. There is an explanation why he's this strong. But he essentially has the heart of a god.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and this is the other thing that it's not really referenced, but the whole thing that I get on where we kind of see him like with all the worlds behind him and you see him blow them up. That kind of goes into the weird thing that I talk about where like in both Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, they establish that technically every Power Ranger is from a different world and universe. So I think that's kind of a cool call. At least a kind of a cool call to see at least as well.
Yeah, they do it like I want to say in the show, they eventually did that, and initially they didn't. So it's why it's a little confusing for me. Like you could see the Zeo Rangers, and we still got the Mighty Morphin over here. But then that's where it's like you have the mesh of dimension hopping and time travel all in one when it comes to the series.
It's very, very cool.
When I guess it is technically a different timeline when it comes to that kind of stuff too, because
Everything.
you got to think like the Rangers in this comic, they don't reach Zeo status. They don't get to switch to those powers. But it happens in the other timeline. So I guess it's a branch.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. And I mean, this is a huge branch of it because after they get the crystal, they go back to their little pocket dimension and they have their moment together, but they know they're not going to remember anything that happened.
I do love where they're fighting. They're obviously fighting Lord Drakkon. They're giving everything they got, and Tommy grabs the crystal and they go into like their own like, oh, we're just kind of here, and they like fucking fist fight the shit out of each other.
Badass.
I love it. That right there, and how Green Tommy puts down Drakon. I love it, man. Like how weak Drakon truly is emotionally, mentally. I love how they did it.
Same. It's well done. And then you have a small scene where Kimberly and Tommy kiss before they lose all their memories of all this whole event. I'm really curious to see where things pick up.
I'm also curious to see where things pick up.
Guys, like just being that I've been through this already, my timeline where I've been through this already, like you're gonna love it all. Because you don't have to say goodbye to all these characters, and these characters don't necessarily have to say goodbye to all these events, because it is kind of a sad thing when you think about it for these characters to have to not, and they even bring it up like we're not gonna remember this shit, but watch as time goes on. This is not, again, the ripples of this storyline are throughout the series all the way to the end.
I look forward to it. And the very last thing is like a small advertisement for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Beyond the Grid, which is issues. The next 8 issues are Beyond the Grid stuff. There's 2 volumes of that we'll be reading next. But I'm very, very excited.
So is that just Mighty Morphin, or is it specifically called Beyond the Grid?
It's just Mighty Morphin.
So I want you guys to also pay attention here. So they reset the timeline, right? That was their choice. Reset the timeline. Where does Drakon go, my friends?
So
I was wondering about that because he just stays there.
I noticed that too. Not only does he stay there, the white tiger is in the background as well.
Oh.
So I'll leave that open ended. It's a very interesting future you have ahead of you here.
Someone needs to just Photoshop my face onto that picture of Poe going, somehow Lord Drakkon has returned.
But I'm sure it will make more sense. The funny thing is, it actually does make sense to how Palpatine returned, but it didn't make sense until they actually created a whole bunch more content later on to explain it. Now it makes sense. Just like the prequels are terrible until you watch the Clone Wars and go, oh, this makes sense to why he changed.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just, yeah, I'm sure this will actually be. So our next Power Ranger thing you will hear from us will be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Volume 9, Beyond the Grid, and we'll do those 2, then we'll do 3 volumes of Go-Go, and then we'll be into Necessary Evil. But that'll be, that's a big-ass thing, too. I don't know if that will be all contained how we did Shattered Grid. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. I don't know what's more issues, so. All right, we should go to Shelf Stacker Box for the whole Shattered Grid. I think this won't be hard. Rich, why don't you lead us in?
I'll lead a unanimous vote here, but yeah, this shit is gonna get shelved. If I had the physical copy, which I should probably just get one day, I would absolutely shelve this and reread it again. I can see myself reading. This is my second time going through it, and I loved it probably almost more this time than I did the first. I got to dig little details that maybe I missed the first time, and it's just some of the most amazing writing and the treatment that Power Rangers deserves. Treatment that true older Power Rangers fans have always wanted. Boom gave it to us with this, and that they do not drop the ball from this point on. So definitely would shelve it.
All right. And Joe.
This is also on the shelf as well. I also need to get all the physical copies of this. This is actually absolutely fantastic, and I don't know. I'm honestly genuinely holding back from reading all this because this is just absolutely great. And I think as of us reading this too, I think they're making like 3 or 4 new comics as well. I saw something recently on Twitter where they were talking about it.
Making what?
More comics. I think it's more Prime.
Oh, well, I mean, Prime's going to be, that's the new thing going forward. So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be more stuff. I mean, comics are easy to make, and if they sell, like, hey, it's much less of a commitment versus trying to make figures apparently. So, all right, I'll go last. I'm gonna put this on the shelf too. I really enjoyed this. Like, I've been waiting to read this event for a long time, and I'm really glad we got to. It was a lot of fun, and it was good. It was really damn good. It impressed me. You guys really made me care about something that I didn't think I would. So.
Oh, you cared about this storyline before we even got there. This is how long of a build-up for you?
I know. I've been carrying since we started, but when we started reading Power Rangers, I didn't give a shit.
Well, that's what I meant. Is like just that's how much you ended up caring. Is that even before you read it, you were like, "Fuck, I need to get there."
So I'm thankful that you guys got me to start.
Honestly, this is the best thing that ever happened to Power Rangers since their initial show. This is it.
I can believe that. I can believe that completely. Yeah, I look forward to the next couple of volumes and us to get to Mighty Morphin eventually. So we still got a while to go, but I'm having a good time. Yeah, because Ranger Academy is something that I think going on, or maybe that ended, but yeah, there's a lot more stuff coming from Power Rangers.
Ranger Academy, I don't know if it's still ongoing, but I don't think that's connected to this in any way.
It's not.
Yeah, so I actually haven't read all that. So if we ever touch that, would be a good opportunity for me to get through it. I actually forgot about it until you just mentioned it.
It's from what it says, the next generation of Power Ranger debuts in this brand new graphic novel series, perfect for middle grade readers of Raven and Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I think that's one reason I didn't dedicate to it. I'm not good with young adult reading stuff, but yeah, I'm open to it just because it's Rangers.
It came out in 2024, so
yeah,
okay.
I read the first comic and then I was like, I'll get back to it and forgot.
Maybe there's a lot of other stuff that I'd rather read that they have. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's way more interesting stuff aside from that.
Yeah, so I'm glad, and I look forward to doing more Ranger stuff. So, all right, I think we'll just kind of wrap this up. So, thank you for listening to this long-ass episode of us finally dig deep into Shattered Grid, because this will probably be over... This is definitely over 3 hours. I can already guarantee you that. The Raw was more than that. The edited version here is over 3 hours. If you want to hear our rest of our Power Rangers content, all of it will be in the show notes, everything we've done so far, comics, a few movies, definitely go check that out. This show is over 750 episodes so far, going to be more soon. Definitely go check out our giant catalog. Everything we do is on Podbean. If you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon. For a little $1, you can vote in our Patreon poll. We have 1 to 2 polls a month, so a great way to support the show and affect the show. If you want to suggest things, you want to be on the show, if you want to just chat with us, if you don't want to just lurk in the Discord and make me happy that number went up, please join our Discord. You see a link in the show notes of every single episode that we do. And want to get a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Hastry. Follow her on TikTok and Instagram. Definitely go check her out and check out A Gamer Looks at 40 with Bill Tucker. He's currently talking, depending when you hear this, should be talking, this will be talking Final Fantasy 7 or 8 by now. Definitely go check out his podcast. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, audio only, wherever you get your... And rate and review wherever you get your podcast. I think that's everything I need to say, so we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.